They say that they get injected with young people's blood. But see, the part with the adrenochrome thing is they add the Pennywise like shit where they have to be afraid. No, seriously, I'm being serious.
No, that's
that's
bullshit.
That's part of it. Like it only works if the child's in terror.
Maybe that's why they made Monsters Inc. That's where it comes from.
Come on now.
Hello. Welcome back to Todo Chido. It's the first time that the three of us are just like doing this by ourselves, which is cool. I know that's what you guys tune into. Go ahead, bro. Give me a hot topic. Give me a hot take.
Hot take?
Yeah.
Is this really our first episode alone? I thought we had at least one.
We had the first one, and then from then on, we haven't had it.
But this is our first episode alone with the shiny desk. Very nice.
So I'm excited. I feel like I'm ready to talk shit, bro. I'm ready to gossip, like we're back in school.
Okay.
Do you remember when you and me would gossip?
No.
Yeah, we never did that. Yeah.
Since I know next month is February and Valentine's Day is coming up.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys because I just want to know what kind of girl do for a dude, on Valentine's Day. But for you guys, since you guys are single, in case y'all want to hit them up.
Lame.
But so if a girl were to ask you guys out on a date, what would be a perfect date for you guys?
A perfect date? I don't know.
Like, where would you want to go?
I feel like, okay, like, and being like totally like candid, I feel like, I don't know if every dude can relate to this, but whenever like people ask me questions like this, I genuinely like don't really have an answer because I feel like there's like this wall, right? There's like this wall of like vulnerability where I'm like, I don't know, I guess watch a movie or something, chill, hang out. You know? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's not in me to really think of like, I guess like romanticism that way. Or I guess I like movies, so I guess going to go watch a movie would be cool.
Go to a movie?
Yeah, but I hear movies are bad dates, right?
I thought movies were bad dates, or so I hear.
Well, because it's what?
Because you can't talk.
Yeah, because you can't really like talk to each other, like get to know each other, and you're mostly just watching a movie. Which is why some people say they're bad dates. But I don't know. I also enjoy them. I like going to the movies.
But that's different though, because I mean, you have a man, you know. I feel like it's not like was your guys' first date going to a movie?
Yeah, we actually.
Oh, really?
It was funny.
Drop him.
No, but I think it's different because like we had already known each other. So we had already like met each other and like had a conversation and kind of like got to know each other beforehand. Like we hung out as just friends for like a whole month, and then eventually we went out. We went out on our actual first date. So I think that's different. But I'm saying like if a girl went up to you and was like, "We should go out," and then she'll take you to the movies or whatever. But it's like your first interaction with her.
I get you. Yeah.
I think that's like different. But yeah, we went to the movies. We actually went to the Grove. and we ended up watching Spider-Man.
I remember when I was in middle school, I remember my first girlfriend that I ever had. I remember we went to the movies and we saw like the fucking the Three Stooges. I remember the whole time it's as if I was watching a horror movie because my heart was just like pumping like super fast. Yeah. So I was like super like I remember there's this one scene in the movie where like a stray nut, like they throw a nut at a wall and it hits a lion in the balls. You know what I'm talking about? Did you ever watch that movie?
Yeah, I've seen that movie.
And I remember for some reason, because it was so like perverted, I was like, oh my God, how embarrassing. Yeah. What about you, Brandon?
I don't know. The Dinosaur Museum.
Yeah. There's a dinosaur museum?
Which one?
The Natural History Museum.
That's not the dinosaur museum.
It basically is.
That's where everybody goes. Yeah, true. What about you, Julie?
You would want her to take you there?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you see, it's because I'm telling you.
It's because I guess for you guys, you guys
don't
have
really
never
think
really.
about it like that.
I'm like, you guys don't really think about it.
The guys take the date.
Yeah. If it was the other way around, it'd make more sense for me.
Yeah.
Especially because I'm in Angelino, born and raised. I feel like I know a lot of cool spots. I'd be like, oh, I know where we're going to eat.
And the spot's an empty parking lot.
Yeah. I know. Dude, this parking lot of this Walmart is pretty cool, bro. Pretty fire. Yeah.
I feel like for me, I don't... I guess the perfect date for me, which I just really like, is like carnivals. I really like going to carnivals. I mean, they're not like a yearly like every day kind of thing, but I always like going to like carnivals, which is really cool. And I recently discovered that I think I like him because mom and papi actually like met at a carnival.
Oh yeah.
Our dad asked our mom out to ride the Ferris wheel.
Like the Notebook.
and that's kind of how they met. Like that legit was like how they met. But it's a funnier story because mom actually got sick on the Ferris wheel and she threw up.
Bro, but I've
But it's
ridden
because she
those.
got dizzy. She
Yeah.
got dizzy on the Ferris wheel and she was like,
I've ridden those Ferris wheels,
Yeah.
bro, in Mexico. Like they fucking suck because they go a lot faster than the ones here do, and then they also like the gas
mhm.
is like
Oh,
hitting
there's
you.
fumes.
Yeah, there's fumes. Yeah.
It's hitting you the whole time. So like I understand. She's valid.
Have you ever been on the Disneyland one?
No, I
The
don't think
giant
so.
Ferris wheel in Disneyland?
Oh yeah.
That one looks scary.
I haven't been to Disneyland.
Because it
forever.
also like swing. Well, there's like some of it that
It's
like,
just really
swings, right?
big, so it looks scary.
Really,
Really?
bro. What was how'd your parents meet?
At work, I think.
Oh yeah, oh bro, but that's beautiful. It's like The Office.
I guess, yeah.
He was-
Yeah.
They were Jim and Pam.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, but what was the second question, Julie?
Okay, so the other part. So the other part was so how do you guys flirt?
How do we flirt?
Yeah, how do you
I run
flirt?
away and
Mhm.
I
Based.
stand silently
Based.
and
What?
hope she can read my
How,
mind.
you guys,
Based.
you guys don't have like a game? Like y'all don't got game?
No.
Like
I don't know. I don't think guys think about it like that, like women.
mhm.
I think
It's
some,
just,
no,
is
some dudes
so
do.
do you think
Some dudes
flirting
do.
is kind of just a little like natural? Like it just kind of happens?
Well, I'm sure guys think about it, but like not like, yeah, I don't know.
No, I
like
disagree.
a book,
I disagree.
like a
There's
step-by-step thing?
I think you and me have had this conversation before because we were talking about Riz, right? And I was like, do you think some people are just born like being able to flirt really well? And that like people who aren't born that way, do you think that they can never actually like learn it? That you're either born with it or you're not, right? And I feel like from what I've seen from guy friends and some female friends or girl, I'm sorry, I didn't. Is that wrong? Can I not say female? Anyways, some friends that I have that are girls. I know there's definitely some girls who like take pride in being able to flirt and intentionally flirting. Like I have this one homegirl in high school. I remember she was talking to me about how she's like, dude, I'm like the master at flirting. She was Riz before it even existed, right? And I was like, yeah, right. Like you're all talk. And she immediately called over one of my classmates and was like, look here, like come over. His name was Tyler, and he's like, hey, like, have you been working out? Like, you look so good. And it's like, and he's like, yeah, I mean, I've been playing basketball. He's like, oh wow, I could tell. Like, and she just kept doing the conversation, and he was like all smiling and like blushing. And then he finally went away, and she was like, you see, I told you. So I definitely think people do think about it. Even dudes think about it. I think it's just like, I really do think you're kind of born into it though. I think like, I guess you and me weren't really like, we weren't born with that gene, the flirtatious gene.
Speak for yourself.
All right, my bad. I guess I wasn't born with it. I've always hoped to. Remember, like a few months ago, I was trying to learn how to like, I guess, become like a better flirter. But I kind of stuck with that idea of like, I think you're born with it or you're not. I feel like I'm just a little awkward, you know.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Brandon.
What do you think? You don't think you're born with it or you're not?
It's not that I think. I just think people think about like learning it in the wrong way. Like I think like when I say that, I don't think people think about it like that. I mean like I don't think there's like a do this, this, and that, and it'll automatically work. I just think you got to figure out what like your strengths are, what makes That's there's not like a. That's what I mean. Like there's not like a. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's not. So when you're asking like how do you flirt, it's like. I don't know. You know what I mean?
You just
like,
be yourself.
You just be yourself and smile. You know? I don't know.
Well, because I remember I told my sister a while ago that like in my life I've noticed that the women that I'm like attracted to, who then I like intentionally try to make moves for, are the ones that I usually fumble. But the women that I like just like don't see romantically and like I just have treated like basically like I treat you like they're the ones who usually then are like, hey, like they tell me they like me and they're like romantically interested in me. So that's why it's like flirting to me is a little weird, because I'm like, from my experience, like the way to get a girl is to like
be yourself.
It's to not intentionally make moves like that. But that's like, I guess, from my experience. I mean, I've never been the type to be at a club and be like, yo, they say I couldn't even think of anything. Yo, baby, like, I don't know. What would you even say? Julie, what's a
At a
pickup line you
club?
like? Yeah, what's a pickup line you
A
like?
pickup line?
Yeah. Or do pickup
Damn.
lines work?
I don't know. I feel like I don't think anyone has really ever used a pickup line on me, unless it's like intentionally. They're doing it intentionally just to be funny.
Doing it ironically.
Yeah. But I don't think
What's your dream
I-
scenario of being like hit on?
hit on.
Yeah, like, okay, I know you have a man, so let's say that we live in a world where he didn't exist. What would be your dream scenario of like a dude coming up to you, whether it's at the club or actually pick setting? Okay, what's the best setting where you feel like you'd feel comfortable being?
Okay, there was just like off like the scenario, it made me think of something where this girl told me, she's like, honestly, the way she said that it works is that if you look at someone, and hold the look for like 3 seconds, and then sometimes they'll like, if they're interested, they'll approach you. And she said that she did that because we were at work and she did it. And the guy like approached her and like was like, hey, like, what's your name? And
Maybe
blah,
that
blah,
works
blah.
for women, but I don't know.
No, and I remember one time I kind of did it one time at a club. This was before she had ever told me about it, but I did it. This was in college, and we were at a club, and I just remember I saw a guy, and he was pretty handsome, and I saw him, and I looked at him for like a couple of seconds, and then I kind of just looked away, and then he legit like came up to me, and then he asked me out to dance. Which I guess in like if you're thinking in like that type of scenario, I think it's just cool. I think as long as like, I feel like for me, like for the most part, it's like just approaching and like just talking to me and like.
So it doesn't
Also
matter the
not
setting.
not doing it like super like harshly, like I don't know.
Oh, like coming on too strong?
Yeah.
What would be coming on too strong?
I'm trying to think because I feel like it has happened where like it does.
It's like, yo,
It's like,
yeah, like what would be an example of that? Because I
I'm
mean,
trying to think.
and that's so subjective. Like, what if is asking for your number? Like, is that coming on too hard? Like, let's say it's somebody you see regularly. Like, let's say you always go to like, I don't know, you're a regular at this coffee shop, right? And you always see maybe the barista, and so your first like interaction with them is just name basis. Would it be coming on too strong if right away like the barista was like, yo, let me get your number?
I think maybe the way they ask. So how you said it, yo,
Like you, the way you are.
yo. I don't know. I feel like it's not too bad. I think also for me, I'm always like, at least when I was single, I was always like, I'll just keep an open mind. Like, sure, why not?
Would
I'm
you say
open
all
to
women
it.
are like that?
I don't think all women are like that because I feel like they also have to find you like very attractive. You know, and that's pretty fucked
You can't
up.
be rule number one. Don't be ugly.
That's kind of funny. They have to find you really attractive.
Yeah.
Don't bother going up to them.
Yeah, because I also feel like,
yeah.
or at least from what I've seen, sometimes on videos when like a guy is asking a girl out, and then you can
You're like, he's ugly,
automatically
though.
see like they're kind of like nah, so they try to make like something of like no, like or some of them are like yeah sure, but they won't like message you or whatever.
Oh, so they can't just be nice.
Yeah.
I mean that's respectful.
Yeah.
I mean I can understand that too.
Yeah.
I mean, Brandon, as a dude, have you ever had a chick hit on you and then you rejected them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it awkward, or do you feel like you can kind of like?
Yeah, because I'm shy. So
I get you. The same way for me. I remember
very long time ago though in high
Yeah.
school.
I remember like a year and a half ago, there was this chick who was like into me, and she was like, "Oh, like, is it cool if like maybe we hang out?" And I just wasn't like into her, so I got saved though, because around that same time, my grandma had passed away. So I was like, "Oh, it's because I'm going through a lot right now," you know? Because I just wanted to be nice. I don't want to be like no, like I feel like saying I'm not interested in you is mean. I don't know if that's just me. What do you think, Julie?
Was it that you like you just weren't interested in her?
Yeah, I just wasn't interested in her. But I mean, I was going through something. That wasn't a lie either.
Yeah.
What if she sees this?
Then well, I mean, there you go. Yeah, I'm pretty
She's
candid
like,
on here, man.
damn.
I'm keeping it real. I'm keeping it real.
Because I'm trying to think, like, if you weren't interested in someone, like, wouldn't it just is? You don't think it's fine, but how do you say it? How do you say like,
Right? How do you
like,
reject someone? Right?
like, not really looking for anything, but then you kind of are, no?
I just feel
But not
like
with her.
yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. It's like I mean, I'm open to dating, but just not with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, how do you say it nicer, right?
Yeah.
How do you let somebody down? Because then you put yourself in the position, right?
Mhm.
Let's say it was me. Let's say this girl that I've been seeing like since forever. I finally get the courage, and I'm like, yo, like, I always say yo. I don't know why. This is how you know I don't know how to flirt. And I'm like, yo, like, whatever. You know, I like you. Blah 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 blah.
Greetings.
Greetings.
we need to help Stevie with his game.
Yeah.
Greetings.
Greetings. Hello. No, yeah, and I'm like, oh, you know, let me get your number or whatever. This isn't what I would say, but just saying. And she's like, oh, you know, I'm not really like, I am looking for something, but I'm just not into you. If she told me that, I feel like I would actually take that on the chin. I respect that. Be like, yeah.
I feel like you don't have to say like I'm just not interested in you.
Then what do you say?
You can just say I'm not. I'm good. No, like
I'm good.
no, I'm not literally that, but I don't think you have to go into detail about I'm not interested in specifically you.
So
That's
Wait, so
Okay,
then,
you're
so
right,
then
yeah.
should you just say like,
Just-
oh, I'm not looking for
But I thought
anything?
honesty was good, man.
I thought it
was good to be
open
honest.
communication.
Well, yeah, but like I feel like that's the yeah. There's it reminds me of those people who are like I'm brutally honest, but they're just mean. It's like, come on, man. Like you don't have to. You know,
You didn't have to do all that.
Yeah, like if you
Yeah,
tell
man, that's
them
true.
if you tell them no, right, you're probably never gonna see them again unless like you know.
Yeah.
You're around the same circle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but like I feel like if a stranger comes up to you and you're like specifically not you, that's like soul crushing. You know.
Yeah.
This
I mean,
person- this
So
person-
say
yeah.
so.
I mean, I've been in the
so-
opposite seat too.
So it's like she's a stranger. Like you guys aren't in the same circle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like just being like, no, I'm good.
I'm okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't know where my like feeling of lying comes from. I'm like, it's cause I'm getting shipped off to Iraq.
Oh, it's because I'm in the service.
Yeah, so I can't. I don't do
Is
that.
it because you just feel bad?
Yeah, I
judging
just mainly
people?
just feel bad because I'm telling you, because I was on the opposite side too,
Mhm.
where I was super into this girl and then she rejected me very brutally, brutally and harshly. So I feel like that's why I guess now whenever I'm like not into a girl who's into me, I guess get like compelled to
You're
lie.
projecting.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I don't want to like. There's something going on, you know. There's something else because
Mm.
I guess I remember that pain and I don't want to make somebody else go through that, you know.
Mm.
So I get you.
I feel that.
Like, I feel like you just have to think of like a creative, polite line. Like, oh, I'm just not interested in dating right now.
Oh, I gotta have one
Be
on my
honest.
notes app ready
Yeah.
to go.
Or like, ah, I have a girlfriend. I'm gay.
What?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Have you used that line?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I'm
I'm gay.
I feel like that one's worse though.
Yeah, that one's bad.
That one's
Don't
pretty
use that
bad.
one.
Why
Don't
is that
use
one? Why is that one worse?
Well, I guess that one's. I can see why someone would take issue with that one, but
I get
obviously
you,
I'm
yeah.
joking.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
our
guess I
joke.
understand that one. Yeah.
It's a joke.
I've heard of women who do that. And
Oh, they
like-
say. Oh, yeah. No.
and yeah, that woman will be like, "No, I'm gay." It's
But I feel like, at least from the situations where I've heard that, it's more acceptable because it's like at a club and like a guy's trying to dance with you, and it's like, oh, this girl's my
Yeah.
girlfriend. So that way he's like, oh, okay. For sure.
I've done that before too with like my friends because sometimes so the way I guess I saw when guys are pushy is mostly at clubs is that when they're actually trying to like dance with you and you're kind of like no but they still keep like getting close to you and you're like no and then I ended up like hugging my friend and I'll be like no I'm with my girlfriend.
Mm.
But it's usually for the most part when it's pushy is at clubs because
Mhm,
people
yeah.
are very like
So don't approach people at clubs.
Yeah. Surprising, people at clubs can be pretty pushy. Because I remember when I went to the club once with my friends, I remember there was these two chicks who were there who were like super, I guess frisky, like super handsy, right? And then me and my boys, none of them were really into them. But they kept touching two of my friends. Like they kept like trying to grind on them. And they were like, yo, like we're not trying to do that. But luckily I had a woman friend there who she was like, oh, that's like my boyfriend. like that like we're together, and she's like, oh, okay, and she respected that,
Mm.
But this is when we went to a super like bicep club, like you know what I mean. That's where like people go and when you dance with somebody, it's traditional to kind of dance like very like physically, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
I've never been. So
yeah, no, it's fun if you're like fucked up. If I'm being honest, I feel like if you're sober, it's kind of a little like too much. It's like just a bunch of drunk people, sweaty and like pushing everybody around. Yeah,
I think it's interesting going to a club sober.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun too.
It's
Oh,
I
you
think
said
it's fun-
sober?
Yeah, sober. I think it's funny sometimes because you actually see people like on the other side of like when they're drunk
And
and
how
you're
they
like the
actually
sober
look?
one. Yeah, and how they're like acting and all that. I always think it's funny. I find it funny because I'm like, do I be like that? That's funny.
Or is that just like wow? So this is what it looks like.
you do be like that though.
I do.
Oh,
Be like that.
I was gonna ask you, Brandon. Like, I feel like I'm rarely ever the sober friend, but you're a pretty sober guy. So, what does it feel like when you're like at like a setting where everybody's fucked up and you're the only one who's not? What does that feel like?
It's kind of comfortable because it's kind of like, well, everybody's like fucked up, so it's like, what do you know? Like,
Oh, I get
in
you.
a weird way.
Oh, I get you because you're like, I guess, not saying somebody would fight you, right? But like,
No, it's more like let's say you're like not into parties or like you're kind of just like an introvert, a little like me, and you're kind of like but since everybody's all messed up, they're kind of acting like ridiculous. Not that I'm judging them, I don't care. It's just more like, yeah, but I'm sober. Like there's literally like if anyone's acting weird, it's for sure not me. So it's like I'm chilling,
yeah, I get you.
So
yeah.
it's like that.
Do you have fun though? Are you like having fun when you see
I
everyone
can match
else?
anybody's vibe. Nah, I mean, yeah. What do you mean? Do I have fun?
Like, are you enjoying yourself like at the party for the most part, or are you kind of like, oh, I'm just here for a bit and then I'm a dip?
In what way?
And like,
am I having fun? Like, cause I'm like looking at people, or like, do you mean like I'm having fun? Like,
yeah, because you say that you're an introvert, right? So do you like going to parties or no?
yes and no. Sometimes it's a little much because I'm just like, I don't know. It's just not who I am, But like if it's like a smaller thing or it's like a lot of people I know, it's like, well, I know them, But other than that, yeah. But I don't know. I haven't gone to a lot, so I can't really definitively say like if I really, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like I imagine it's kind of funny. I imagine it's kind of funny because you're sober and you're looking at everybody who you've probably like when you go to parties, right? That you know everybody at, and you're like, damn, everybody's fucked up, and you see people like start doing the drunk cries of like you've always been there since day one. You know when people start doing that, I feel like that always happens. At least at the parties that I throw.
I don't know. I feel like it's funny for me because I don't drink like really at all. And I see a lot of people get drunk, and it's like when you guys say like, oh, I feel like I know what I'm doing when I'm drunk, and I'm like, if you say so, because it's because I feel like I see a lot of people drunk, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Like they'll tell me stuff that like, I didn't know you felt that way about me, bro. Like, oh, that's very sweet. Or like, or I'll remember something and they won't remember at all. And I'm like, but you were giving like an impassioned speech about it,
They were saying like, I remember when I held you as a baby. In my arms,
something like that.
And you're like, I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, Or like people talk your ear off like crazy. Or it's just fun. People are super, like you said, people are super emotional. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. But
yeah, right. Yeah. I imagine it is. That seems like fun. I feel like I'd want to be the sober friend, but because I know what it's like to be on the other side, I'd want to join in and be like, oh, wow. Yeah. Everybody's just kind of like, you open your head up and you just drop your brain off. Yeah. You know? Julie? Next question.
So the other ones were going more into so one of them was losing connection from people. So one of my coworkers, it was funny. She was asking. She's young. She's younger than me, and she was just like asking me questions about myself. And then she was asking me like, so how do you like make friends? And then I kind of was like a little thrown off from the question because I was like, what do you mean like yeah, like since you're not in school anymore and like you're mostly just working, like how do you make friends? And I was kind of like, well, I just like talk to people and like at work and. Just because I can tell that she's a very like shy and like she's very like to herself kind of thing, and And so I told her, I was like, it's more of like, kind of getting out of your comfort zone and like being able to talk to people. Cause it's like, yeah, you're not in school anymore. So you meet people through work. And then she asked me like, well, what do you do like when you start losing connection with like people, like your old friends and stuff? And I was like, that depends on like how you kind of like lost the connection. Like for me, like I moved away to college and I kind of just like lost connection from people. And I'm kind of like, I feel like it's kind of like a natural thing sometimes. You kind of just grow out of it. So I don't know, how do you guys like deal with like losing people? Because like for me, I was kind of like, I kind of like for myself, I wasn't really sad about it. And like through the perspective of, I guess, like my friend or like my coworker, she seems like she's kind of very hurt of like how she lost a connection through like people. And I kind of told her, I was like, it's kind of like a natural thing. It depends, because I'm like, I've also had like bad fallout with friends where like I've genuinely just got into like very bad like arguments and it kind of developed a bad relationship with them. So I kind of just was like, I don't need them in my life kind of thing. And then there's the other way where you kind of it just naturally in a way happens. So I don't know, how do you guys feel about like all that?
I feel like you and me will probably have different perspectives just because I'm older. So I've seen like adult life. I think you're right, Julie. I think it's super natural to the older you get, you're gonna lose friends. It's not a bad thing. At least for me, at the age that I'm at, I'm working, I'm pursuing my career, I'm doing all these things where I'm running out of time to kind of spend with everybody. But it doesn't mean that I don't care about like these friends, right? And those friends are experiencing all the same things that I'm doing, right? So obviously we're gonna have so little time to really like spend with each other. But I think as long as, like you said, there was no bad blood, there wasn't like anything that necessarily pulled the relationship apart. I think you just kind of have to accept that maybe you'll lose connection with some people. You have to find kind of a friend in yourself. And it's not sad. It's just a part of growing up. It's a part of just being an adult, man.
Yeah.
And you have to also like maybe motivate yourself, hype yourself up that eventually you'll see your friends again. You'll see them either at a birthday party, at like a gathering, Friendsgiving, like Christmas, whatever the situation may be, you'll see them again. You just have to be comfortable with knowing that, there's phases you go through in your life. And unfortunately, one of the phases is when you get older, you have less time to hang out with your friends. But just always keep in mind that it won't be forever.
Yeah.
It'll just be for right now.
Yeah. I think the other cool part is like through social media, I know some people don't use it as much, and then there's others who do, and still kind of like being connected through that. Cause like, like for example, for me, like I have a lot of friends in San Francisco, and like I'm not there with them. Not saying that I'm losing connection with them, but I still feel like I'm fairly connected when I see them. Like if they post something and I'm like, oh, like they're doing something, because some of them are still like in grad school or whatever, and they'll post like, oh, I got this on like my paper, or like I'm going through this. Some of them do, like, because you know how Instagram has like the close friends, they'll do a little more like events. A little more intimate stuff, which makes me feel like, okay, like one, I'm in their close friends, which is really cool. And the other one is just like, okay, like I know what they're like, I'll be like, okay, I'll check in on them or something like that, which is cool. And I think that's just like the thing of just whatever is your way of communicating with people. Because I know like through the pandemic, I was kind of like feeling that I was losing a lot of like my friends. But that's because like I don't really like texting people, or like if I want to talk about things that are happening to me personally, I don't like texting it, or like through a phone call, through FaceTime. Because at least for me at the time, I always found it weird. Like if I'm venting and then I'm crying to like my phone. And it's kind of like I kind of want like my friends to be there physically and kind of like comforting me, like physically. So I remember I always kind of felt that way, and because I wasn't being very communicative to like my friends of like whatever I was going through personally, I felt like I was losing them. Because I just wouldn't like message them or anything, because I'm kind of like, I started becoming more of like, I just want to isolate myself kind of thing. But then eventually, like, everything started like slowly opening up, and I kind of was like, oh, like I want to start talking to everyone again. So I've learned that like there's a whole bunch of different ways where you can still communicate with people now, especially like through your phone. But I've also accepted like there's some that like they're here and there, you know, like I'll still talk to them, but I haven't like fully lost something with them. And then there's others that I have that I'm kind of like, it's fine, like there's nothing bad, you know, about it.
Yeah, like the modern age of how I feel like at least dudes like check up on each other is just memes. Just sending people memes. Even like, you know what, it isn't even a gender thing. It's not a guy thing. And I feel like for a lot of people, like you keep connection by just sending each other kind of like memes, bro, just jokes, you know. All it takes is that like that small effort to just like let them know that you're still there, you know. So I mean, I think that's the best way to kind of still keep your friends like aware of your presence. But I don't know, I really do think it's okay if you don't talk to your friends all the time. I really think that you go months without talking to your friends and the bond should still be there. And if it's not, then it's okay. It's like a natural thing, you know. I guess they weren't the one. It's like a soulmate, right? Or like a romantic interest.
Yeah.
Like, and it just, some people are for you, some people aren't. It's okay, you know. Or what do you think, Brandon? As a 22-year-old,
come on, bro. On the internet, you tell me. I don't know. I don't think I've ever really thought about it that seriously. If I'm being honest, I'm not a big friend guy. I don't. So, I feel like if I have grown apart with friends, it's more like, oh well, yeah. Not like I don't care. It's just more like, oh, you know,
it is
happens.
what it is.
I just never really thought about it that seriously because so
yeah, but because you like being alone, you know, you like
I
your own
guess,
personal stuff.
but I don't know, I never really thought about it that seriously. Some people are kind of like, I'm losing all my friends. I can't.
Relate.
I just personally can't relate because you know. But yeah.
So like you don't put too much thought of like, oh, if you lost a friend, you're like, oh, okay. Like,
Well,
that's
I
fine.
mean, I'd obviously be like, oh, that guy was cool, but. You know.
Oh, you're like those what are those memes called? Like the foamies?
No, it's just like I feel like the way you guys are talking about like a lot of close friends. I don't have like a lot of close friends. I have like maybe one or two. So like you know,
I get you. You don't have the experience of like, I mean,
so like, you know, if the friends I have lost, I was like, I mean, we weren't that close. We were cool, but we weren't like all that close. So I was like, I mean,
yeah, that's true.
yeah. So like when I see him again, I'm like, we're still cool, but like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
feel like this is sounding really harsh, but I'm not meaning.
No, bro. I mean, that's
harsh.
your perspective. Because I mean, I think that's what's important about your perspective. It's different than ours.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like, that's not what I'm trying to say. It's like whatever. It's just more like I just can't relate. So yeah,
I get you.
You don't want to make more friends, Brandon?
I mean, yeah, sure. I feel like I'm a friendly person. But
It's because Brandon's very free flowing. So it's like if you want to be his friend, he'll be your friend. If you don't want to be his friend, then okay.
I guess there's just something about me people don't like. Nah.
Damn. Oh,
I don't know.
You're the problem?
Maybe.
Damn, Brandon.
You tell people to fuck off? But you and me have been homies for like since we were like 5 years old.
What? Like I said, if people want to be my friend, I'll be their friend. But
I mean, that's you know what is funny though. That is true because you've been over. We talk about this all the time, like on the podcast. But you were over to my house probably a million times, and the first time I ever went over to your house was barely like a year ago.
Yeah,
that's funny. Is that when we both went?
Yeah.
Okay.
I might have gone first, and then you went the next day. He was like, "Might as well." Bro, you should have. How come she got it right away? I knew you for like 20 years. She knew you for like a year.
It's like I said, I never really thought about that seriously. Like,
I know, me neither, bro.
It's because I'm that cool, bro.
Oh, she lapped me.
You know what's weird too is my sister when we were young, she'd invite people over, and whenever I'd be like, bro, why are there like people at our house? Like, you know, like
oh wow,
this is my house, you know,
my sanctum.
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't you say one time they invited like your parents invited teachers to your like birthday party or something? I thought I remembered something. Oh no, it was Chad. No.
Oh yeah, he went, but that's because Chad's parents knew my parents from work, which is weird because I never knew until like we got older. I was like, that's weird. What a coincidence, but yeah,
it's written in the stars. Yeah, you gonna say something, Julie?
Oh no, I was gonna say something. I was just listening. Brandon's an interesting person.
Yeah, that's why I fuck with this guy.
I don't think so.
That's why I fuck with this guy. I think he's interesting.
I think you're interesting.
I'm just some
Brandon.
guy.
I think me and
What you mean?
what I find interesting about Brandon is because I feel like me and him are very opposite in a lot of ways. Like I feel like Brandon's very comfortable being by himself, and I feel like I get very uncomfortable being too long by myself. You know, and it's not because like I'm like, oh my god, like I hate myself or anything. To me, I don't know. I've been thinking about this so much like recently. I don't know where it comes from, but I feel like when I get lonely, it starts to really like dig at me. Where I'm like, damn, I must be a piece of shit. Like I must be a fucking like loser.
Yeah.
Like no one's hanging out with me. I think it's because I was the youngest, so I was naturally used to just being around a lot of people. So now you know how I was talking about, as an adult, you just get more lonelier. It's just like a natural thing that happens when you become an adult. I think to me, it's like I feel it even more because for so long I had people around me, and now that I'm by myself, I'm like, damn, like I guess like I guess like I'm a loser or something. I know I'm not a loser, but I'm yet for some reason something in my mind makes me feel that way. You know?
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
also because I mean, you're so used to also just being like around family and like parents a lot, and eventually you kind of like as an adult you're kind of growing out of it, right? You eventually like move out or something and just be on your own, which can feel lonely because of course you're like by yourself and you've been used to like for many years to be like in a household, like you've lived in a household where it was like your parents and then your siblings, and then you move to another step of your life and you're like, wow, it's just me now. It's just me on my own. Me, myself, and I.
Yeah, definitely your mid-20s are pretty lonely, but I'd see it as that it's just like a phase, and then later on in life things will get better. I mean, how is it for you, Julie? Because I know I'm 2 years older than Brandon, and then you're 2 years older than me. So do you feel like when you were my age things became lonelier? But it's because the pandemic happened.
Yeah, I think.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean those times it did feel lonely. But I think what was interesting about the pandemic, is that like I wasn't as lonely because I still had like you. Like I had you throughout like the whole time, and it was just us always hanging out. And even one of our friends, like one of my friends even told me, she was like, well, he was like, you're always hanging out with your brother. And then I remember I told you that. I was like, my friend's always like, bro, you're always hanging out with your brother. And then you were like, well, it's because you were gone for 4 years. So this is like us catching up.
Yeah. True.
And it was genuinely like us, like I had just graduated in 2019 and then I had just moved back. And then in 2020, the pandemic happened. So it was just always hanging out. And what was funny too is that like for us, we didn't even like lose that much connection, I guess, when I moved away. Because I mean, we were so chilling when I would come back. But we would also send memes to each other on Twitter. Like we would send each other stuff on like that stuff.
You know what's so trippy about like growing up, about getting older, is that I think I told you, Brandon, but like what's weird is like the responsibility that like just broadens on a lot of things. Because this relates to what you were talking about, friends. It's weird how like it's natural to lose friends, and it's if you lose a friend and you feel comfortable about it, like it's okay, like it's not a bad thing. But it's weird how if you want to keep friends and you want to keep like a healthy relationship with other people, right, like let's say your family or like you have a nephew like we do, it's your responsibility to then make those decisions. You know, when you're a kid, and I think I did tell you this, Brandon, when you're a kid and like let's say you would hide in your room when relatives would come over, you kind of get away with like your parents being like, oh, you know, he's a teenager, or he's 13, 14, 15, whatever. Like, he's just in his room, you know, he's just going through things. But as you get older and you become an adult, there's no excuse for you anymore. If you're not there, like, hanging out with your family, and there's no reason why other than you just don't want to see them. And then you grow older and you realize, like, damn, I lost a lot of connections, a lot of relationships with people I cared about. It's because it was, like, now your responsibility to maintain those. And I told you this, right? I told you this. And that's why last year when I turned 24, it was like mind blowing me, because I'm like, oh my God, like the weight of the world is like on my shoulders. Not in a where it's like breaking my legs or pushing me down, but it's like there's just so much more responsibility that goes even beyond like possession, goes to like relationships. And like now I also have to, like, I get older, like I can't be drinking like and eating like crazy anymore. Like I'm thinking about how like 6 years from now I'm gonna be watching my cholesterol levels or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like the amount of responsibility that just comes with getting older. Like just mind blowing me last year, man.
Yeah,
it's just mind blowing me.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. How I said like to I guess my friend on like making friends is like if that's genuinely like what she wants to do is make more friends. And because like eventually she's gonna graduate, right? I think she's graduating this year, and I think that's what she's kind of thinking of like how am I gonna start making like more relationships with people. And at least for me, I am just like it's just getting out of your comfort zone. I mean, for me personally, like I'm also not the type to also be social. Like I've always been shy. Like growing up, I was always very timid, and I still am. Like I'm not super like talkative for the most part. But I think the way I kind of like, I guess, switched my own perspective is just like, I just enjoy learning people's like experience and like just seeing how kind of like they are. Cause then that kind of just for me is like the most interesting part is knowing people and how different they are. And that's what I've always said. Like for me, it's always like getting out of your comfort zone, having an open mind of like whatever kind of talks that you have with people. Because through that, I feel like I've learned a lot about, like, myself, you know? I feel like it's just been cool. It's cool meeting people, like, especially now with work. Like, I've met people who are not even from California. Like, some of them are, like, from Florida.
But what do you gain
some
from
of
that?
them,
Like, what do you gain from meeting all those people? What you said it's cool, but what makes it cool?
I think it's just cool, like, especially if they're not from here, like, getting to know, like, how they kind of grew up, kind of, like, how their lives were. How their
but
lives
like, what
were,
do you gain? Like, what exactly do you like? What's the virtue you gain from that?
like, it's just. I mean, I eventually like gain a friend from that. Like that's that. At least for me,
So like
I kind of
companionship.
I feel like I gain some type of connection, especially at work. I feel like talking to people is also like not only are you making friends, but you're also networking with people. Because then they think of you of like, because you've told them like, I'll say like I tell them like, oh, I really want to do events or I want to work in like production or something. Eventually they'll be like, oh, I know a friend that I met through this other job that like, oh, she'll probably be helpful. And they trust you well enough because they're your friend now to be like, oh, I can put them on the team because like I trust them well enough to like, they'll do a good work on and a good job on this. And especially they work with you, like they know your like habits and like how hardworking you are and all that. And I think the plus is that they're your friend, you know, that they're also there. They're also going to be a part of your journey, whether that's like just when you're with the company, or if like it prolongs and then it's like a lifelong friend, you know? And I think, just through that, it's just like, also it's just a learning experience of like how you can talk to people. Cause I feel like also like talking to certain people, like I can't always ask like, oh, where are you from? Like sometimes it's like you have to learn how to develop and like use different things to like learn about people. Cause like I can't always just be like, oh, where are you from? Or like, what did you study? Or like, cause sometimes those are like just, it's just small talk where some people don't even like small talk sometimes. So you learn how to like communicate with people, and all that. So I think that's the biggest thing that you gain. And then you gain a friend. And then you just gain a different trust. You learn about yourself. Because I've learned a lot about myself of like, I like talking about myself, but I also don't like being like so vulnerable sometimes. Or I'm kind of like, I don't like being like too open on certain things. Like I've learned that I'm very like,
but why?
Like, why am I not like super open?
Yeah.
I think it's just because I also have trust issues. And it goes back to like, I guess to the people that I've lost connection with. Because sometimes I feel like people kind of used to take advantage of like how vulnerable or how open I used to be. An example is like, just like I'm not gonna go into specifics, but like kind of an example is I opened up to people and they kind of used it against me. Of like I told them like kind of like a secret, like maybe like 2 people knew, and then she was like kind of like the third person, and then she kind of like used that like against me, or it kind of felt like she was talking behind my back about it, kind of like judging me about it. And I really was just kind of like, I not only am I like the person who doesn't like to open up, but I really opened up to this person and they kind of betrayed that trust. And I was already like a person who was like, I don't like talking about myself a lot. So to that, it made it even worse of like, I don't really like want to open up until I can fully know. That's how I kind of used to see it. Now it's like, I feel like it's okay. Like I feel like I've worked on it where it's like, it's okay, you know, to like share certain things. And then there's other times where I'm kind of like, okay, like maybe I'll keep this to myself and then eventually I'll like open up to it when I fully feel that like I can actually tell them, you know? Mm-hmm. But I think it's just like, I think it's just like through like past things that like is the reason why I am now, right?
Yeah, I get you.
Through just past experience and like kind of those things.
Why do you think it's hard to let go? Because this is, it's not like because I know it's not unique to you. I know there's stuff that I have, probably stuff that you have too, Brandon, that was probably hard to let go. Why do you think it's hard to let go of certain things?
What do you mean? In what way?
Well, because like you know how my sister was saying, like there was like she has trouble being vulnerable because she felt as though her trust was abused in the past. Why do you think letting go? Because obviously the answer would be like, well, not everybody's gonna be like that, right?
Mm-hmm. And that it's probably like a survival instinct kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know, probably like if you, I don't know, like if you, it probably dates back to like when you're to ancient times, you know. Mm-hmm. Like if you eat a plant and it makes you sick, you're probably like, I'm never gonna eat that again. You know what I mean? It's probably to like that.
Oh, because it's like a almost mental pain, right? It's a type of pain, right?
It's a type of pain. It's just more mental.
You learn,
but you're kind of like, all right, it's just a survival instinct. So you're probably like, I'll never do that again. You know?
But do you think there's benefits to like letting go of certain like I guess I wouldn't call it trauma. Trauma is a too harsh a word, but certain types of like you know, like hurt, I guess.
Grudges?
Because grudges also isn't really what I'm looking for. It's like when, like for me, the way I think about it is that in the past, I felt like I was extremely nice and people took advantage of me. And I feel like for a long time, it was hard for me to let that go. But I eventually did. And I feel like I realized like there's a lot of people you can trust. It's not everybody's going to be like people you interacted with in the past, right? Mm-hmm. But I guess what kind of not blows my mind, but just is hard for my mind to wrap around is like, I wonder why it's so difficult, you know? And like, because the benefit is so clearly there. Mm-hmm. The benefit is so clearly there to letting go. But it's just like, it's so hard for people to let go, you know? I don't know if I'm talking in circles.
I think one of the things is you've gone through the hurt, and I think sometimes the hurt can get really dark. At least this is me just thinking on like relationships, not with like friends, but like just relationships in general. Because I feel like I know when people say like, oh, I don't want to get in a relationship because like who knows what's gonna happen. And I know that for me personally, I always was scared in getting into a relationship, not just because like I was gonna be vulnerable, but I think of like when it ends. And I've seen how the ending looks and like how dark it like got for me and like how like heartbroken I was, and I don't want to get to that place anymore. Like I was more scared of like the ending than like the actual of like being in a relationship, being open, all that. It's like because I've heard that that's what a lot of people say is like they feel because of that heartbreak they feel like they can't survive another one, like because of just how bad it is.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
And I think it goes the same with I guess friends. You know, when you lose them. And I think with friends, it's like, cause it's like, just very, very vulnerable of like, you develop this like strong relationship with them. And then it's kind of like, they kind of betrayed you in a way.
The way I kind of think about it is that like, it's kind of like a rebirth in a way when something that hurts you, that like really impacts you, and then you have to move on from it. I think for me, the answer that I'm kind of looking for is that I think it's because you're going to change because you just learned that you probably shouldn't do that again, right? Or you probably should learn from the experience you just experienced. And you understand that that's probably going to mean that you become this completely different person with a different mindset. And so I think you become so attached to who you used to be. Like, it was almost like your safety blanket, and you mourn the person that you used to be. And I think that's why it's hard to let go, because the more you hold on to that pain, the more you kind of still have a sense of who you were. And you don't have to go into the new scary territory of like, this is what comes next. This is what I'm going to be. Because sometimes what comes next, for some people, we're talking about how it's all beneficial, but for some people, they become closed, you know? They're like, oh, well, I'm never going to probably like hang out with anybody ever again, or never going to be friends with anybody ever again, right? And I think that's why it's so scary to let go, because it's just like the phase of what's next, you know, the mystery of what's going to be next, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe just me.
I was like, were you going to say something?
No.
You left it all on the plate.
I said it all. My bad.
No, I think I agree. But like, yeah, I said it's probably like, at least I think about it like that, where it's like how you just burned your hand, you were saying. Like, you obviously probably won't do that again, right?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, I think it's the same way, you know, it's just mental pain. But obviously, because people are more complicated than animals, at least I'd argue, right?
Yeah, it's a good argument.
There's no, you know, we know that there's not we can contemplate that there's not benefit in that survival instinct right there. So yeah, there's benefit in letting go, you know. Yeah. But I mean, I don't fault anybody for why it's so hard, because I can imagine, you know what I mean? It's a very visceral, like, if it's a survival instinct, it's obviously like there for a reason.
Embedded in you,
you know. So
yeah, I think what's cool is that like how I said, I remember I was like, this year I'm gonna learn to like let go of things, and I feel like one of them is kind of like that, of letting go of like people hurting you, and like not trusting whoever is next to come, is learning that like not everyone's the same, not everyone's gonna act the same towards you, like not everyone acts the same and is gonna hurt you in the same way, like whether it happens or it doesn't, like you'll be fine, like you'll survive, you know, in the end of it, like you'll be fine. And what's cool is that, like, again, like say it's a relationship, right, and you're scared of like whatever's gonna happen, like for me personally, like that's kind of how I feel, knowing that I actually have a support system now compared to like my past relationship. I didn't really have a support system, like I didn't really have anyone to kind of like talk to or like kind of communicate.
So
like
the solution is to just get into a relationship?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I know, I'm just making a joke.
But yeah, I think you'll be fine, you know, everyone's gonna be fine.
Everything's gonna be cool. Is what you mean?
And that's a show.
And there you go. It's a short podcast today, guys. What's the next topic you wanted to talk about?
The other one that I had was so actually, well, there was two more, but the one about like people oversharing on the internet, and like I forgot what the video was when we were here and we were sitting, and then you were like, I don't know why people like overshare on the internet.
Yeah.
But I think
What
it
was it?
I think it was
remember,
the situationship.
So maybe
it was
whatever it was. I feel like I wasn't being mean in saying that. Like, it was kind of like, okay, bro. Like, I feel
like Batman couldn't get this out of me.
Yeah, it was kind of like, I feel like you didn't need to share that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I feel like I get it that oversharing can be like funny or like cringe or whatever people want to say. But I don't know. I feel a little sympathy, because it's like, I think people only overshare because they feel a little lonely, and they when it seems like people are willing to listen, and when on the internet it seems like millions of people are willing to listen. That idea is very alluring, you know. So I don't. What can you do, you know?
Yeah.
Well, because I always see like on TikTok, it's usually like the crying videos, where it's like something like every once in a while it'll be like something like, oh, they broke up, but then sometimes it's like a super extreme, like
in detail.
Some like very like hardcore, like somebody died.
Something like
I mean,
that.
arguably
And
we're
it's like-
oversharing on the internet, kind of, aren't we?
Yeah.
I guess so.
Arguably, we're the people we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Yeah.
But it feels, at least for us, I mean, I understand to me, it's not a lonely thing. To me, it feels therapeutic because it's like, it feels like we're building a community of people who, I guess, like, can maybe relate or if resonates with them, and then they feel less lonely.
Maybe people have the same idea when they.
Oh, when they hear us?
No, when they're oversharing.
When they're
on the
oversharing
internet.
on the internet.
Go
Going back to like the thing of like the extreme, right? Of like, usually it's like they broke up with someone, or the extreme is like something super crazy happened and they're crying, right? But I mean, as you can see, how you said, like on the internet, you can see that from the likes, from the views, from everything, a lot of people can sometimes like relate, or they're just like super sympathetic to like what's going on, right? Because I remember like even a good while back, people used to be like, it's weird when you post like when someone passes away, like in that same day, when people are like, oh,
that's
like my like, say like my, I don't know, my grandma or somebody, a relative, right, passed away like legit that day, and then they're already posting like, oh, I'm gonna miss you and blah blah blah. I had heard someone talk about it, and they said that it's like, well, for some people, I think that's like kind of them coping, you know. Sometimes that's their way of kind of like letting everything out, you know.
Yeah.
And I know for some people they might find it weird, of like, this is weird, like you took, because there's things where like you took the time to actually like write this when you should be with family, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I think that's just how people cope. You know, it's a different time of like, we have the internet, we have social media, we have our phones. Like, it's just like, it's a different way of like how people kind of grieve, you know?
Yeah, because I remember when our grandma passed away, I remember like, I never posted anything on my story, or like I never really made like an announcement or anything that my grandma passed away. Mainly because I thought of that. I'm like, what does it say if I did post something? Like, am I doing it for like attention? But talking about how I do this show as a kind of a sense of like wanting to bring comfort to other people, right? I feel like when people probably put their relatives that maybe just passed away or something along those lines on their story, it's probably them wanting to be comforted by other people, you know? You want that, like, oh, like, I hope you're doing okay. You want to know that in this time of like need, you kind of have people, I guess, that care about you. So I guess that makes sense. But when it comes to the topic of like, when people say like, oh, I've walked, my boyfriend cheated on me like for 7 years, and I accepted it, and then finally he like broke up with me. I feel like that's a different topic, because those are like more like, I don't know, that is a cope, you know, and that's like such a big cope, because it's like damn, like it, or I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I think it's different. I think it's different than putting like when like a family member passes away, compared to like when something like, I don't know, scandalous happens to you in your life.
I think with like the cheating one, or those kinds, because they remind me of like when what's the saying, like don't air out your dirty laundry or something like that. It's kind of like you're letting people into like such a vulnerable thing, right? Of like, people kind of, because then I feel like that's when you kind of open it to people having an opinion of like what you did. Because then they'll be like, why would, like with the 7-year, right? They'll be like, well, why would you like stay in a relationship like that? Like, and I think it sometimes just becomes a little negative.
But is that wrong? Because I mean, if you're putting it on the internet, like, shouldn't you be aware that people are gonna create their opinions of it? You know what I mean? Is it wrong to then be like upset that people are giving their opinions on something that you put on the internet? Right?
Is it right? Is it wrong?
I don't know.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you're kind of opening
like,
it up, for people to kind of like give their opinion on it.
I don't know. I think I honestly think it's never that serious. In the sense, and I don't mean the people posting. I mean the people reacting. I know I react, but I kind of just will react and then I forget about it. Like the woman we're talking about, I couldn't identify her in a lineup. I'll probably never see her again in my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not really that serious, you know?
No, I agree.
But I don't think it's wrong. Like I said, I feel like there's something in there that I feel it makes me be like, you know, there's something in there that like, where I'm kind of like, I don't feel like there's any malicious intent here. And you know how people are always like, oh, well, they're looking for attention or something. I feel like,
there's nothing wrong with that either.
not that there's nothing wrong with that. It's just more like, I mean, this person's probably hurting, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like, it feels wrong for me to be like a fucking loser or whatever, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I get you. I remember I read a creator on TikTok said that they read they're like a psychologist, and that a lot of, mainly the big people who are the loudest, who are always like, somebody posts something, like a famous, like a creator, right, post something, and then people in the comments are like, oh, like cringe, like fuck you, that it's very much a projection of like they want themselves to display themselves out to the internet, but they're very afraid. So when they see somebody else doing it, it's very easy for them to then be like, wow, like, look at you, like, you think you're all cool, huh?
Yeah.
And it's really just because they want to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's probably a projection. I mean, like you said, like, obviously we probably see shit on the internet all the time that we're like, what the fuck? But it'd be different if we like DM them and we're like, yo, you're cringe, bro. Like, like fucking stop whatever you're doing, you know? That's totally different. Like, that's like you're doing way too much. You're doing way too much, you know?
I don't know. I sometimes feel like, maybe this is a hot take.
Go ahead.
You know how sometimes people do cringe shit on the internet? I sometimes feel like the reaction people have to the cringe shit is more cringe than the actual cringe shit. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And to me, I'm kind of like, I feel like it wasn't that bad, bro. Like, you know, it wasn't that serious.
Yeah, it reminds me of an old episode we had like a long time ago where we used kind of the same verbiage, but instead we talking about something like somebody was being canceled for something, but all the comments were like, oh, I hope you die and your kids get like ripped apart by like dogs, and like, and then your mom and your dad like see it and eat them, like, you know, and we talked about how like, and then whatever it wasn't that serious, and we were saying that that whatever the reaction that people were having to whatever he did was almost uglier than whatever he actually did. Yeah. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think I remember.
Right? You remember? This is a really old one, because I remember we were in the first ever TGN studio.
Like, do you remember that guy who tried to audition for SNL?
Oh yeah, what's his name?
Jake Novak.
Oh yeah. Did you know about this, Julie?
No.
And like, he just wanted to be on SNL, like, because a bunch of people were like retiring or quitting or whatever, and so he auditioned, and he was like super into like musicals, like Hamilton and shit. And since the internet thinks that's cringe, they like let him have it, you know. And at first, it was a little funny. Like, I understood what was funny about his video, you know. But then I was kind of like, it's not that funny. Like, it's not that cringe, bro. Like, it's not that serious, you know. Because people would show, because he works at Disneyland. The only reason I know that is because people would show up and start filming him, and then put on the sound of his original thing. It's kind of like, oh, come on, bro. It wasn't that.
Yeah,
like,
right.
You know, it's like you know, and it's weird because it's like me talking about it is weird because I feel like, am I the same? Am I having too big of a reaction over something? You know what I mean?
No, because remember he quit. He literally quit his videos and he deleted his account.
Yeah,
because he got harassed so badly. Do you need context, Julie?
Yeah, I don't know. How
Okay, so
he would make like musicals and stuff, and there's one where he did about like gun violence and I think Black Lives Matter. And again, I can understand why it was a little humorous, because like, you know, it's a serious subject, and he's like, you know,
he's making like a Disney musical out of it.
Yeah. So I mean, I get it. I get why people thought it was a little funny or a little humorous. But he seemed harmless. Like, he didn't like, he wasn't racist or like, he just made musicals, you know. And then when SNL like was opening up their you can audition, he just made a musical. He was like, oh, I want to audition.
Yeah, upload it on TikTok.
And his audition was just a musical.
Yeah.
And that was it. People just thought it was cringe.
Yeah, but it went viral. Like it went viral, bullying him, like making fun of him. And I still remember, because when he deleted his account, I remember there was a TikTok that says like, yo, like it's been like 6 months and he deleted his account, he still hasn't come back. Like, this is proof that bullying works.
Yeah.
I heard this.
Yeah.
And it's so weird because it was very wholesome. Like it's humorous. I won't deny that it's funny, that his musicals were funny, but like that people were harassing it and like basically stalking him
Mhm.
over like something that isn't even threatening, right?
Yeah.
Like his reaction would have been almost less if he had said something problematic,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird. Like what a
Mhm.
weird reaction like
Yeah.
to have, because I mean he said it was his dream in the musical. He's like, my dream is to be like on SNL. Like, bro, imagine saying your dreams on the internet and
Yeah.
people clown
Well,
you.
because
Yeah.
I mean, as funny as it was, or as cringe as people say it was, I thought they were good. Like I couldn't do that. Like I certainly couldn't make those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They were good for what they were. Like
Yeah.
the guy's
Mhm.
got talent.
yeah.
Uh,
It was like a Hamilton type,
yeah,
like
he's
like
just, you know,
Yeah.
musical.
Yeah.
and he works at Disneyland, and it's weird that I know that. You know, like it's
Mhm.
weird that people showed up. He's like a barbershop quartet guy. So like he's out on like Disney
Oh.
Main Street singing, and some people just
Um,
record him and put over the.
Yo,
They put the
yeah.
SNL sound, and I'm like,
Yeah.
come on, that guy's just.
living his life.
He's just, you know.
Maybe it's finally happening. You know how Dom said that for so long we had kind of the like woke culture, or like I guess like what, like everybody being sensitive. Maybe it is finally like going to the opposite, and everybody's
I don't
being a lot more mean and more accepting of
Haters?
meanness, of
I
bullying.
mean, maybe. I don't know. I feel like TikTok just the way it's set up, you can get away with it more. Because like
Mm.
on YouTube, you can't really like. Remember how YouTube used to be, but that was more because like they just weren't on top of that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the way TikTok is set up, you were telling me about it. How like you can say something and then you'll never see that ever again. You can refresh your like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or like it is
Yeah.
just so much that they can't possibly like.
Yeah, because even
You know?
even for creators who have like a big following like on TikTok, TikTok does this thing where it'll show a post first to people who don't follow the account, and then to the followers.
Yeah.
So sometimes if like a post does bad, or for whatever reason, like you as a person who's following that account, just I don't know, maybe blinked, accidentally refreshed,
Yeah.
there's a good chance you won't ever see like their videos, right?
Yeah.
So you literally, a guy could like be getting canceled and you'll never hear about it, you know, because TikTok set up like so weirdly. But yeah, I think you're right, because I was reading that people were saying that TikTok also is like a good hate machine. That like most videos that blow up, it's because people are making fun of them.
Yeah. well, I mean, Facebook got caught up with that, right? That their videos like intentionally.
But that one's
try
even
to-
deeper, bro. That
No,
one goes deeper.
but I know it's deeper, but I'm just saying that like that like
realm,
realm, they're obviously into that, like because
Yeah.
it's you know
engagement.
yeah, it's engagement.
Engagement drives social media. So
Yeah.
the easiest engagement is to just put something that brings out the emotion. Easiest emotion to make somebody is fucking angry.
Yeah.
Is mad.
Yeah.
So like obviously there's gonna be so much more bullying and
Yeah.
like hating on TikTok, because they want that engagement, bro. It's an
Well, it's
engagement
also
machine.
like on at least social media, and like when you, I guess when people throw like hate comments, like it's just like words. Like you guys aren't actually physically fighting, or like if you say something to someone, like they're not gonna fight you, you know. They're not gonna confront you.
It's
They don't
all- I
even
think
know where
that's
you're from, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think that's when it's scary. I think that when Jake Novak, how people were harassing him in real life, like I think that's when it's scary. When like if for some reason the internet transitions into actual life. Because even like for us, even though we run our pages, like every now and then we get like hate comments. Like the way I literally deal with it is I just literally don't look at my phone. Like just turn off the computer. You know,
Yeah.
you know that meme that's like how does cyberbullying exist? Like just close the laptop. That's not like obviously that's not like valid. Like obviously people get cyberbullied.
Yeah.
But at least from that, like the small like engagement that we get, like the easiest way I do it is I literally just don't look at it, and it's fine. It's not like somebody in real life is gonna come and like talk shit to me, right? But when people actually do like that, like people actually come from the internet to your real life, that's where I become like, damn, bro, is it really that serious?
Yeah.
Like you really brought that from a fucking computer screen
Mhm.
out into the
Yeah.
real life?
Yeah.
Like, damn, bro, like you don't like they got jobs at Walmart, bro. Like they got you don't have anything else to do but like focus on this internet shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. That's why like when people are showing up, it's like damn, you guys have a lot of free time.
They really have the time to do that.
Yeah. So I'm a pro Jake Novak supporter.
You should come on the show. I would.
know.
I would love it. I would love it if he made us a theme.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mr. Jake. I don't know who you are, but I'm gonna look you up right now.
I don't think he's like on the internet like that. I think because he was a micro internet celebrity.
Yeah.
You know,
I just want to see his face.
He's like a nerdy guy.
he looks like the
Does
guy
it?
from the Try Guys.
Yeah,
that-
exactly.
he looks like the guy from the Try Guys that got kicked out for.
I was never into the Try Guys, so I
Yeah.
don't know what they look like.
Well, I mean,
I just know there's an
I
Asian
do.
dude in it, right?
I
No,
do.
but Eugene, but you heard
Eugene.
about the guy.
Also,
that,
you're a fan.
the guy who
I
the guy
know
who
of
cheated?
them, but yeah, the guy who cheated. He looks
Yeah,
like the guy who
with an
cheated.
employee.
Yeah.
And he got fired.
I heard of that. Yeah, I heard of
Yeah.
that. Bro, you know what's funny about the internet too is that like because you become this comforting character to some people, like I'm sure the Try Guys are. When stuff like that happens, when you like intimately like your intimate relationships where you cheat on your partner,
Yeah.
people are like super into it and they're like, damn, it's as if you like they were your kids and they found out
Mhm.
you just cheated on their mom.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Well, it's because again, I feel like it's like the whole thing of like them sharing, like overly sharing. And I'm saying that's a bad thing, but it's kind of like you're letting
You
people
invited that?
You're inviting people into your life, kind of
I
like
think
that.
so.
Yeah. Well, remember, who was it? There was like a celebrity recently, like within like a year ago.
Mhm.
They said, I don't mind when people talk shit about me. I don't mind when people try and harass me. But it's when people try and harass like my family members or like my wife. You know, I became a public figure, so I accepted that I invited the public into myself. But they didn't do that. And for them to like then be harassed and be like getting hate comments, like it's not fair. Like I'm the only, if you guys have a hate comment, do it to me, you know? I'm the one this is my job, you know? I forgot who it was. I want to say it's Tom Hanks, but I don't think it was Tom Hanks. I don't know why I'm thinking of Tom Hanks, but I don't know if it was him.
Oh, when the paparazzi pushed his wife.
Yeah, I think that's why I'm confusing him, but I don't think it was him, but somebody said that.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
See,
So
like
I don't know.
it's weird, like, cause I know Tom Hanks is like Woody and Forrest Gump. So when he said like the F word, I was like, I was like, Woody?
yeah.
You're like, what?
I think the only way to really survive on the internet is to really like laugh now, cry later. It's to like greet everything with a laugh. Like greet everything as humorous and funny. I think when you take it too seriously, that's when you become like, fuck man, like I can't believe, become angry back.
Yeah.
But you gotta like take everything with like I don't know, like a smile and a laugh. Like I that's the way I see it, because everything's just really like when you really look at the bigger picture, it's really silly. Like it's really silly.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the internet is just really silly.
Yeah.
I know it could be hard though, because I'm like, I feel like for us, like say we get hate with shit that we say, right? But it's kind of like we know what we're saying, and it's kind of like sometimes kind of standing with what we're saying. Like whether we're like, if we're wrong, then we'll for sure probably tell each other like we're wrong.
I guess it's just so weird, because it's like we know what we're saying because we said it.
Yeah.
Like, I know what was going through my mind when I said whatever I said. And it may not always come out, and that's why people might get mad or whatever. But it's weird to think about how people perceive it, because they're obviously projecting themselves onto me. And I'm not even saying that, and it's like, you're projecting, bro. I just mean, like, I do that too, you know?
Yeah.
And I talk about it all the time when I say when we met the IE or when we met Dami. Dami is the Bami. It's weird, because every time it's always like, damn, you're not at all what I expected. You know, because I've only seen them through my phone.
Yeah.
And it's because I expected them to be a certain way. But when I meet them, they're really cool, genuine people who have lore and stuff like that. And they're just regular dudes, you know? So.
But that was a cool, like, thing to kind of, like, discover as a person working in, like, I guess, like, media. It's cool to meet these people and be like, oh, wow, like, you just like me for real, bro. Like, damn, you have feelings and emotions and shit.
Yeah.
You're not, like, constantly on 100. That's funny. Kanye's song though, he says that he is. You remember?
Yeah.
And he's like, "I'm like this in real life, not just on cable."
Yeah. But I think I don't want to talk about him, because
I'm not gonna go into him. Yeah. Because I could say a million things about that. Jin, was that your last topic?
Well, because it was gonna go. Well, the other one that you found interesting, that I was talking about was how TikTok is kind of changing how like women beauty and also how TikTok is ruining relationships. I don't know if you guys still want to talk about that one.
I mean, we could, but I want to talk about it just because I don't agree.
Okay, go ahead.
Why don't you agree?
Because I think the algorithm is based on whatever you see, man. It's like you have the control to not let it show you that, and where it's like TikTok is like ruining relationships. I'm telling you, just like to me, I just always think about the internet is not a real place.
Yeah.
The internet isn't a real place, bro. If it's genuinely affecting you, then like go somewhere else. Go a place that's real, you know? So like to me when I hear stuff about like TikTok is ruining relationships, bro, the algorithm is based on like whatever you give it. So if you just want to look at memes, don't want to ever look at relationships, just focus on that.
My brother in Christ, you made the sandwich.
Yeah, exactly. That meme of it was like people at Subway be like, this sandwich sucks. Like my brother in Christ, you made the sandwich.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I don't agree with those type of things, because to me it falls very close to the whole video games make people violent. You know, video games don't make people violent. It's about the person.
Yeah.
It's about the individual.
Yeah.
You know. So that's all I had to say about that.
Yeah. Well, because I'm not. I only brought it up because I thought it was like an interesting thing. I'm not saying that I agree with it. But because so I took a screenshot of one and it says, "Let's talk about the delusion of TikTok's outlook on relationships and the unnecessary anxiety it can cause for women, especially." And I think she talks about how I mentioned like people say like. What is it the saying? If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah.
So like, you know how people promote that like, oh, my man's bought me this and blah blah blah, and then the other one of like, if he does this, then like that means he's cheating on you or something like that. That's what like some of the videos were like talking about.
See, the issue I have with that is I feel like you shouldn't take advice from TikTok, period.
Yeah.
Like everybody suddenly has autism, which I also kind of take issue with, because it's like, bro, I feel like you're invalidating the people who actually have it when they're like, I'm so autistic, bro. It's like, come on, bro. I don't know about that. Or every single thing's a sign of depression or trauma or anxiety. I'm not even being that like boomer guy who's like, oh, these soft ass kids. You know?
Yeah.
I don't mean it like that. I mean, come on, bro. Like that's like I saw.
It's an actual.
Like, no, there's like one about there's this lady who's an actual like psychiatrist who always duets those videos, and she's like no, like no, you know. So like, I don't know.
I just find it really interesting because at least especially TikTok, because I always think of like YouTube and like how like on YouTube like you can find like you can Google stuff of like certain things, and it's interesting how now TikTok has kind of become that where like. I remember asking my friend, like, oh, I want to learn how to do this. She's like, bro, just search it up on TikTok.
On TikTok?
And
Damn,
I'm kind of like, what? I'm like, that's interesting. And I don't know, I'm just like, at least to me, I'm kind of like seeing like these types of things. And like, especially when people are like, oh, I have like depression or something like that. And you're kind of getting it through like a social media platform when maybe like, I don't know, get like a checkup or something.
No, like yeah,
like an actual doctor.
No, like yeah, I'm not I'm not being that boomer guy.
Yeah, and I think especially like with these, again, how I've said, and I think I've mentioned this before. I don't know if I mentioned it on the show, but I know I've talked about it with like Stevie of like I feel like I understand how like some people can get kind of caught up on this, but I think it's just like taking advice from like something off a social media thing is just like. It doesn't seem right, and it just seems very toxic. Like,
but like, here's a question. You know how we're kind of being like yada 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 TikTok. That's the like you shouldn't. What about when people talk about like beauty standards on magazines or like on television or movies or stuff? Is it the same?
Yeah.
Like, are like is it the media's fault for? You get what I'm saying?
You gotta think for yourself, man. I think it's all fucking like mush. It's all fucking TV, movies, like they could give you all they want, but like really, you just gotta see what works for you, man. Like think for yourself, because also like your experience is so unique, and so many people think that it's not. That's why like all that like like I'm autistic or I'm like this, and it's like no, bro, you're just like normal, you know.
Yeah.
You're just like your own person. Like it doesn't mean. You have to align with all these things that are trending right now, right? That's where my biggest gripe comes from is that like really, bro, really like turn off the mush. You know, it's really scrambling your brains. Like
do your own research.
Yeah.
Investigate flat Earth.
All right, you got me. I'm a flat earther. All right.
I feel like that's a good segue.
Yeah. Oh, you want to see? Okay.
His
Yeah.
conspiracies.
Okay. So now it's time for my segment.
Now some
Which is-
interesting
which
shit
is-
that
yeah,
gonna come
Which
out.
is some
You're
conspiracies.
just a hater.
Okay, so I have 4 operations that the government did on my phone right now. And first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read you the name, and I want you guys to guess what they're
happened?
about. Yeah, just based off the name. The first one is called Operation Northwoods. I know you already know because I told you. So Julie, go ahead, give me. What do you think Operation Northwoods means?
Operation Northwoods.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just go off like what the name says. Woods. I feel like it's something to do with the woods. They destroyed the woods, huh?
No.
Just kidding.
Brandon, do you want to give it a guess?
I already know.
All right, if you didn't know, what would be your guess?
If I didn't know,
Yeah.
if
Try
I-
to erase your
okay.
memory real quick.
It's
if I didn't
the-
know Northwoods, I guess it like it had something to do with the forest where they were like, I don't know, they're cutting down like
They were trying to find Bigfoot or some
no
shit.
more something more sinister. Like they'd probably be like cutting down like trees and forests of like sacred land
Mhm.
Okay.
of indigenous people or like
Mhm.
That's very grounded.
yeah like
I said they're looking for Bigfoot. Okay, so what Operation Northwoods actually is, and these are all real. Operation Northwoods was a proposed false flag operation against American citizens that originated within the U.S. Department of Defense of the United States government in 1962. It was specifically used to try and get the American public behind the United States so they can go to war against Cuba. Famously, the person who rejected it was JFK.
and what happened to him?
Yeah.
Happy
no.
ending, right?
This is, I guess, conspiracy corner, although it's not a conspiracy.
It happened.
It
Yeah,
actually
these are
happened.
all things that actually happened. Okay,
Well,
okay.
with that one though, that's what people cite when they say like that's why 9/11. That's why it's not so far fetched that 9/11 was an inside job because they had an operation that is similar to what they're
Oh, yeah.
proposing. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, well, I should give context to what a false flag is. So a false flag is basically like an incident that happens in the United States that the government did, but blames basically our enemies, blame somebody else, right? Like let's say an example would be like a van blew up a bridge in LA, and the United States is like, oh, it was Al Qaeda,
Yeah.
but it was really just them trying to
Yeah.
get us to be mad at Al Qaeda.
Yeah.
This is a real thing. You guys can look it up. It's called Operation Northwoods. Okay, so the next one. So the next one is, there's an amazing program to conserve the butterflies. Just Google Project Monarch. What do you guys-
I think I know what this one is.
Okay, what do you think Project
Project
Monarch is? Yeah, based off the name. This one's
I'm just going off based off like where I've heard monarchs before, which is like with immigrants.
You think it's like,
What? Okay.
Yeah, you know that's
Okay,
like
okay.
because
the
monarch
migration.
butterflies migrate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, sure.
That's where they're used.
So
That's
okay,
the
so then what
symbol,
would
you
that
know?
mean?
I don't know.
What is it? What's their operation?
They're,
Especially since you've heard one now. What are they doing?
Assuming that these are all bad, right?
They're the immigrants who are criminals. They're like industry plants. They're
Oh, they're fake. They're
They're
fake.
fake
They're not
immigrants?
actually immigrants.
yeah. You think
Mm.
that's what it is?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
I'll go with that.
That's not fair. He gave you. He gave you the
I
We're a
layup.
team.
I
We're a
planted
team.
that
idea.
We're a
Okay.
team.
Is that your answer too? Is that what you think it is?
I
Operation Monarch?
think I already know what it is, but I'll go with that since I think I know what
Okay.
it is.
It's basically this one's a really famous one. This is the MK Ultra. Do you know what that one is, Julie?
No.
MK Ultra it was an illegal human experimentation program designed and undertaken by the US CIA intended to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used in interrogations to weaken individuals and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. Basically brainwashing.
Oh, is this like the LSD thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where,
yeah,
they,
yeah.
Was-
where they were trying to like control them?
Wouldn't
Yeah.
is this the same one where they would get like prostitutes and lure guys into like rooms and they could
Yeah.
they'd put a bag over his head and
Oh, is
give him
that
like,
one?
It's
a bunch of
it's basically
LSD.
just the CIA looking into seeing if they can do mind control.
yeah, and they just
Seeing if
got,
mind control was
they
real.
just got random guys off the street and were
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
all right,
They basically
Wild.
just gave people psychosis and
Yeah.
like brain disorders. But it's a real one, MK Ultra. That one's the pretty famous one. Okay, the next one is, did you know that spinach kills the Rona Just Google Operation Popeye to learn more.
I actually don't know this one.
Okay, what do you think Operation? What do you think it
Popeye?
sounds? Yeah.
Operation Popeye.
And the little picture has like Popeye eating like spinach. What do you think?
Operation Popeye.
Something with like
This one's
Spinach?
kind of
Drugs?
wild.
drugs and building muscle.
It's like
Because Popeye, no, I guess that's.
I'm gonna go.
that's a good one. That's a good guess, Julie.
I'm gonna go cartoony. Of go. They tried to make super soldiers like how Popeye gets strong.
Those are
Kind
good.
of like
those are
that,
good.
yeah. Kind
They're
of
good guesses. So it's not those. It's not even close.
What is it? What is it?
It was a military cloud seeding project carried out by the U.S. Air Force during Vietnam. So it was a project where the government basically tried to make like a weather machine to where they can control the weather.
I remember this.
Okay,
And they try to implement it during Vietnam, and famously, this is what caused for like it to be banned. It's a war crime now to try and like fuck with the weather in the state of war.
Yeah.
What's weird is this goes into conspiracy. Some people say that this is the reason why it rained so much in Vietnam when the Vietnam War happened, because it was the government making it rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I
like
think
the U.S. government.
yeah, the U.S. government.
Mhm.
Yeah, that it was called Operation Popeye. That they were doing experiments to try and control the weather, so that way they would be at an advantage. So that way, like the Vietnamans would basically be flushed out. You know, but yeah, that's that one. That one's kind of
Interesting.
that
That's
one's-
crazy.
yeah,
that they
yeah,
would like
right.
create weather. Like,
No, but it works though. No, like
that's what they said they banned it. Yeah,
What they do is they add like salt or something to like, and it makes the water like condense a lot quicker.
Mhm.
Something like that, but it works. No.
But I think that's crazy that they were actually able to do that.
Yeah.
right.
Like,
Who knows what else they can do?
Yeah, because obviously they probably stopped
and that
doing
was
it, right?
back when
They
That was-
immediately
that was
stopped?
when?
That was in
when?
1967 and 1972.
Government clearly
Oh, yeah.
stopped when they told them that was wrong.
Yeah, bro, I mean,
I don't know about that.
I feel like the government is always doing
Do you
like
think
what's
we'll
right.
get, do you think we'll get kicked off YouTube mysteriously because we broke some sort of rule?
No, okay. At least for this, like, just like this is fucking like fact.
This
You can
is-
look this up.
this is
Everything I'm saying, look it up. It's
It's
real.
declassified, right?
Yeah.
So it's not
So
like
this is real. I just think it's trippy the Operation Popeye about how they try to control the weather, because that seems like such a conspiracy. Like,
Yeah.
oh, the government can control the weather.
yeah,
but think-
really. Yeah.
think about
They
it.
actually were able to do it.
Yeah, I know, right? They actually did.
They
and
That
tried
was
to
figured it
figure it
that was
out.
crazy because we saw, I think, a video on it. No, on YouTube.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that one was crazy because of the fact that I was like, it generally does seem like it's a conspiracy theory, but they were actually doing that.
If
shit
you had
back
to,
then.
if you had to put on your conspiracy hat just for a little, what do you think?
It's
they-
always on, bro.
What, what do you think they got? Like, how far do you think they got? You think they can make like tornadoes and shit?
I bet you they can.
Probably.
I bet you
A
they
tornado?
can. I bet you they. Nah.
I don't think so. I feel like that's too much.
I feel like maybe not a tornado, but a hurricane. I could see a hurricane.
Worse, they can. They can do,
Wait, what?
they can do the harder one.
Well, because like if they can make it rain, then maybe they can create like a hurricane.
You think so?
I feel
don't
like
know.
for sure they can't.
So when they were doing that, was it just rain or could they do like wind? Were they like
they were like airbenders.
airbenders?
Hey, it became illegal. So if
Nah,
the
I
rest of the
think-
world
I
ever
think
found
at-
out,
I think at most they could probably just do like rain, because I feel like with hurricanes and like tornadoes, like that's like God. You need God to be able to do that, you know.
Mm. Oh, that's too complex.
Or I don't know.
I guess I can kind of see that.
maybe they got like
Hopefully.
a tornado button.
Keeping keeping grounded, right? Yeah, maybe just rain. But at least we know, as far as we know, they got pretty close to making it rain like a motherfucker. Okay, this is the next one. Okay. Did you know the government funded a project to document every bird song? It's true, bro. Just Google Operation Mockingbird.
Ah,
You know that one?
it sounds. I probably do, but I don't. Let's see. What can I guess?
I'm thinking of like Hunger Games.
Oh, this is the one. This is they made bird drones. All the birds are robots.
Julie, is that what you think too?
Yeah.
It's like
Well,
in
because mockingbirds can like
mock?
imitate
They can
imitate
mock.
like different sounds. No,
I guess.
Right?
I've seen.
I
I've
think
seen.
so.
I've seen the.
I've seen
Games.
Hunger Games. I think that's.
No, yeah,
that's
it's one where they do like syndrome birds, like in The Incredibles with that bird. The one.
This is actually the most simple one. It's pretty simple. It's just Operation Mockingbird is an alleged large-scale program of the United States CIA that began in the early years of the Cold War and attempted to manipulate domestic American news media organizations for propaganda purposes. Basically saying that all the news stations are just there to manipulate people. And push the unit.
That's ridiculous.
I know, yeah. I mean, I feel like that one's probably
I don't
one's so
I don't
obvious.
believe this one.
Yeah.
I don't believe this one.
I guess
You don't think
Mockingbird
it's
isn't
real?
like
No, come
Oh,
on.
because like they can. They mock.
Bro,
the news.
They mock.
The news wouldn't do that.
they've always like
They always
done
tell the
what's good.
truth. They always tell the truth.
Yeah.
They don't fearmonger at all.
Mm-mm.
Damn. But yeah.
These are all from like the 60s.
This one is from the Cold War, so probably.
So do you think that the government has gotten better or worse? Like, do you think with the technology we have now that they're like, we don't gotta do that?
And
Or do you
better or
think
worse
that-
in what things?
In the
What
sense of
meaning?
like the stuff that they do is less or more monstrous.
Oh fuck.
Like, do you think because they have so much technology now, do you think they're like doing more evil shit?
The only reason I'd say more monstrous is because literally all these are in the 60s, and the only guy who was like, I don't think we should be doing this, was JFK.
And they whacked him.
Yeah, and so I imagine once they got rid of that guy, who took over for him?
Who was there to stop him?
No, but not only that, but who took over? Richard Nixon, right?
No, it was
Oh.
Johnson, Lyndon B. Johnson.
Oh, really? Never mind.
And then after that, it was Nixon.
Never mind. My conspiracy theory immediately invalidated. No, yeah, but definitely after JFK was gone, like there was nobody left to stop them.
Mm.
So they were like, yes, like let's manipulate like all the weather. But what would they even do? You don't think we'd notice? If
Well,
they did
I don't
that?
know. I guess it's tough because it's like, how come they don't use it like on farmland? How come the government isn't like smart and buy it? Or maybe they do. I don't know. I'm not.
I don't know. Maybe
They-
that's what.
Why
all
don't
that
they?
rain
Why
was
don't they
for.
buy farmland and then make it rain and be like, we got it like that. We picked the right. You know.
Yeah, you would
get
think
what I'm
like droughts wouldn't be an issue anymore in California, right?
saying? Yeah.
Or maybe they hate California because
Oh,
California is
we're
like progressive.
Such a bunch of liberals.
Yeah, maybe. And
So they're
do
punishing.
you
us?
think the government's conservative or liberal?
Probably more conservative.
Really?
Well, because it's the government. I feel like with the amendments and all that shit, it's supposed that they made it so that you could make adjustments and stuff like that, but they don't. They don't, you know. So
Mhm.
I'm guessing it's conservative, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I mean I agree.
Because every time a liberal wants to change something, they're like, "Oh no, it's not happening," you know.
Mm.
No, yeah.
Also, you think it would be easier?
Well, if they were liberal, we'd have free healthcare, but we don't,
Mm.
you know.
Oh yeah. Okay. So I have my segment isn't over just yet, bro. My segment isn't over
Oh,
just
you got
yet.
a few.
We're on conspiracy corner right now.
Well, we're not on. We're on.
We're-
Steve's session. This is if you guys ever smoke with me. This
these
is what I.
these aren't conspiracy though. These actually, like,
Yeah.
these are real.
Yeah.
The government wants you to think they're conspiracies.
So what do you call them? What do you call a conspiracy that eventually turns out to be real?
Reality.
The truth.
The
truth.
So you just take them out of that category.
I feel like I don't know. It's just like I feel like
They were like right here.
there's
and
just
that's
I feel like conspiracies aren't that difficult. You know, I feel like there's some where it's like okay, maybe I can buy that, but then when they get to like lizards and shit, I'm like, all right, never
When they
mind.
start going over
the lizard
hollow
one
earth,
doesn't get
the
you,
ice
bro?
wall.
Never,
What?
never.
the ice wall,
Oh.
and what's another like super like bogus like or at least far fetched
You
like
don't think there's
conspiracy
actual
theory?
lizards?
No.
There's lizards in the world.
Adrenochrome, that one doesn't. I don't buy
one?
it. The one that I always explain it, where they're
Rich people drink little kids,
the
right?
ones where they're not actually pedophiles. They're just drinking their blood,
Mm.
like vampires or something.
No, yeah.
See, that's where you lose.
But
me.
people say that it's true. There's people on like Ellen saying that shit's real.
They don't say that specifically.
Then what do
don't
they
s-
say?
They say that they get injected with young people's blood. People are like, see. But see, the part with the adrenochrome thing is they add the Pennywise like shit where like they have to be afraid. No, seriously, I'm being serious.
No, that's
that's
bullshit.
part of it. Like it only works if the child's in terror, you know.
Nah.
Yeah.
Are you
Like-
serious?
Yeah, the kid has to be like tortured or some shit or
Maybe,
yeah.
maybe that's why they made Monsters Inc. That's where it comes from.
Come on now.
You thought about it for a second, huh? You were like,
No,
wait a
but
minute.
see, it's shit like that where people are like, they tell us in movies, just watch Monsters Inc. You know?
What did you think? Did you see Inside Job got canceled?
Oh, oh really? You think
People
it's on
say that
purpose?
it's because of the government. There's Netflix had this animated show called Inside Job that had to do all about with like conspiracies and if they were all true. And so like I never seen the show or even seen like a trailer of it.
Wait, pause real quick. Do you wanna close the blind because of the sun?
No, it's okay.
You don't think it'll move?
It's the same. We always record around this time, so
Alright.
it should be fine. Should be fine.
I don't know.
What was your question?
If the government is the reason that they canceled Inside Job on Netflix, that they were like, no.
Yeah. Have you guys ever heard of Inside Job?
No.
We watched a clip of it. Remember, it was that animated thing about lizards and stuff. It's where they don't they talk about like all these conspiracies in like a kind of joking manner.
Yeah, in a like imagine if they were real and they're like lizard people.
Yeah.
Was it the one where they were like at the ball or something? They were like
I think so, right?
Yeah.
I low-key thought that was like Rick and Morty or something.
Yeah. Julie, don't mention that
Oh, my
name
bad, I'm
in this
sorry.
fucking house
They
ever
replaced
again.
him. I didn't say the actual guy who voiced.
Okay,
him.
wait, okay, bro.
You wanna talk about that?
Yeah, I don't know about. I don't know anything about it. So educate me.
So the creator of Rick and Morty, Justin Roiland, you can bleep that out if it's a buzzword or whatever. He's on trial because they chose to remain anonymous. Someone he dated in the past accused him of domestic violence and false imprisonment. Which basically, from what I saw, it means that she tried to leave and he wouldn't let her. Whether it was through violence or intimidation, just like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, a bunch of DMs leaked, where he's basically talking to like underage girls, and he calls them like jailbait and stuff. So it's not like he was unaware of their age. He's like, but with those, they haven't been proven false or real yet. But Adult Swim and then Hulu cut ties with him, so he's kicked out of all of his shows. He's not. So whatever. I also saw that like apparently his lawyers say like it's a layup, like they're like they think it's that the case is gonna get dismissed.
Oh, really?
So interesting though.
What do you think about the fact that Adult Swim fired him before he got put on trial?
I don't know. I mean, it obviously the stuff he's being accused of is weird, but for me, I'm more like, damn, those DMs are pretty crazy.
Yeah, but they're not proven like real yet.
They haven't been.
Well, I guess
false
no.
Though, either.
I guess the only thing, and this isn't me trying to be like an empathizer or sympathizer if he did do these things, but to me, it's like, it's so torn. It gets me so torn when people lose their job before like a trial like goes on, you know. Because if he did do it, then fuck him, right? Like then yeah.
Well, I the way I kind of saw it is like how with the Dodgers and Bauer, is that his name? Trevor Bauer. I'm assuming they probably did their own little like investigation, and what they saw they didn't like.
Oh, so you think Adult Swim saw something?
Well, because I watched the Moist Critical video on it, so that's
shout out to it, bro.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Hopefully he can be on the show.
Yeah, he will be. Yeah.
But cool. he brought up that he has kind of like a history of this. That he has like a sexual assault, sexual harassment case, I think.
Really?
At his gaming company. That they settled. So he kind of has like a history of being a little iffy around that stuff. So that's why I think that
gaming company dropped him too.
He quit, I think. So I don't know if.
Well, it could be that they had already like maybe told him. They were like, well, this was gonna go into trial, so like they probably already heard it ahead of time or something, where they're like, he's gonna go to trial, like so whether we get rid of him or something.
I think it's not that they're awaiting trial. They just haven't found him guilty or innocent yet. And that's about it. Like, so it's already happening. But if I had to wager, I'm guessing it's because like all the other stuff is coming to light, where it's like I didn't know he had like a sexual harassment thing going on at his gaming company. And I can imagine that's just not a good look for or like Adult Swim and all that stuff. Especially when people, I feel like before this happened, people would always kind of criticize Rick and Morty for the jokes they make about like incest and shit. So
no, they make a lot of weird jokes.
So I guess all that together doesn't.
I was thinking about how like if it does get all proven to be true, I think one thing that was like an obvious red flag for me was that like he method acted a lot in his voice acting. I don't know if you guys ever heard or like saw it. He would get drunk actually for like the record sessions. Like he said, like a lot of the recordings where Rick is like drunk, they aren't fake. He's actually drunk, like voicing Rick.
But I saw that he said he more would drink what's that stuff? Bubbly water, that stuff that comes in the green bottle.
Oh, really?
That he'd drink that for the burps. I watched his GQ video because I was wondering if they would like recast him, because I feel like I haven't heard a good impression of his voices, but they did like a video of him like reviewing other voices, and all the comments were like, little did he know he was doing job interviews, you know.
Damn,
But he talked about how like he brought that up. He said like if you look in the earlier seasons, he would like try his hardest to like make Rick burp. So that's why he was always like drinking like soda or like alcohol, whatever you call it. I don't know, sparkling water,
like seltzers.
But like later on, he's like like he was just like
whatever.
He just said like if it happened, it happened. Like if it burped, he would naturally do it. But in the beginning, it would be more like constantly try.
It's because I thought I saw like a video of him actually drinking, but maybe he just did it once, and then I associated with that he does it like every time. Because I just remember the video at the end. He's like, "Damn, I'm pretty fucked up."
Yeah.
So he for sure at least did it once where he did get actually drunk. And I mean, that's one of the things where it's problematic, but it's like a weird gray area, because it's like fun, you know, like he's voice acting, but he should be professional and not drink on the job. But at the same time, you know, it's fun. He's voicing like cartoon characters.
I guess because I guess again, not defending him or anything. I guess the thing was like it was his show, like it was his idea. It'd be like if we got drunk on this show. Like, well, I mean, it is our show, you know?
Yeah, like
you know
I'm boss.
You know? Yeah. So, I don't know.
I wasn't as torn about this as I was with the Andrew Callahan shit, you know?
Oh, you weren't a Rick and Morty guy?
I found Rick and Morty to be cool, and, like, it was really interesting. And, I mean, I tuned into the seasons, but, like, I wasn't, like, on my knees. I didn't fall to my knees in a Target when I heard the Justin Roiland thing. You know?
A Target?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, I wasn't completely torn by it. Because you're right, that show kind of always had a kind of a weird vibe. So it was one of those things where I'm like, like, I'm not surprised.
You're not shocked.
It's always someone you don't expect, but you're like, I should have expected that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, for all we know, the guy could be completely innocent.
I know he's innocent. Then we're like, I'm sorry, Justin Roiland, in the future, in case we're wrong and we're speaking. I didn't finish my conspiracy corner.
How did we get into this?
She said she thought the inside job was like Rick and Morty.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah, okay. But I had a second. I still have two more things. This is the first thing. So I put some answers to where are aliens.
Where aliens are.
Yeah. Because you ever wonder if the universe is really old, and humans have been around for what, like
200? About like, I don't know.
200. Well, modern humans 200,000, right? Are like species like 2 million years?
Yeah, that you
right?
you actually might have it. So
I was there, bro. How could I forget? But anyways, yeah, right. If we've managed to make this much progress in like that little amount of time with how old the universe is, then aliens should be right around, but they're not. So here are some answers. One of them is called the zoo theory. All right, just like the other one. What do you think this one is?
They have transformed themselves into like zoo animals.
I thought you guys were together.
No, I think I've heard
not
about
anymore.
this one. It's that like that we're like a preserve or whatever, that they're looking at us like we're in a zoo. So like,
also we're the zoo.
Yeah, we're the yeah. So like,
yeah, you got it pretty much on point. Yeah. So the zoo theory is that aliens see us as an attraction in their little zoo. They specifically put in their little zoo. All right. We could be part of a type of nature preserve that has been set off limits, free to grow, unperturbed by intelligent life. Damn, I really can't pronounce that. Unperturbed? Just basically like untouched by.
So are
by
these conspiracies
life.
Or are these truths?
They're theories.
They're theories.
They're theories of what? Are these truths?
How
would we
you
know?
swear? I don't know. No.
So the other ones are truths.
Yeah. How do you feel about that one? Oh, you know what? I'll read them all and then tell me which one you guys like.
Which
more.
one? Which one's?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Okay. The other one's called. The other one's called the Great Filter Theory. Julie, what do you think this one is?
The Great Filter Theory.
Yeah.
I'm gonna think like a filter. Wait, these are all about aliens, right?
Yeah.
They put a filter. I don't know. I feel like it sounds like the same with the zoo. They put a filter over the earth so we can't see them.
They put a filter on the earth, like a Snapchat filter.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I know
what do you
this one.
think?
This is the one that's
Yeah.
like every civilization reaches like a certain point where they kind of go extinct, and we're either the first ones to get ahead of it or we have yet to reach it, right?
Yeah, this one's the scary one. Other intelligent life died in mass extinctions, and we are most definitely next, or we passed it. So it either means all life, when it exists in the universe, it reaches a point to where it can no longer be sustainable, and they die out, right? So as humans, we've either somehow by luck passed it, or it's like coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's either a meteor, AI becoming self-aware, pollution,
nuclear
Yeah.
bombs.
nuclear bombs. That one's the scary one. Yeah, because that one's like, damn. So life is pretty hard to like exist, right? Life just dies. This one's called the self-imposed quarantine theory. What do you guys think this one is?
Interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, self-imposed quarantine. Maybe they're just staying put. They don't want to. I don't know. Disease, maybe.
They're in hiding.
They're in hiding. I think that the one what you just said. There's another one called like the quiet forest theory, which is pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That one might be there. So don't talk
Okay,
about that one.
okay.
Yeah, this one might be
we'll
there.
get to- no, I don't
Like,
know this
Uh,
one.
What do you think
I
it
don't know
is? What you said that? What did you say? The self-imposed.
Oh, that
quarantine
they're
theory
just
is?
kind of staying put because they don't want to like spread disease or some shit like that.
The aliens.
Yeah.
Okay. And then Julie, what do you think?
I think I said around the same thing.
Hey,
I think.
hey, that's not fair. Okay, so this one's the opposite of the zoo theory. Is that the people who are in higher power here in Earth don't want us to leave. They intentionally don't want to show us to, because it says that we don't want to draw attention to ourselves because it could be potentially dangerous. Yeah. So no, you don't think
Wait,
the
is
world
that- is
leaders are not showing us aliens?
Wait, is that? So is that the one where they're like?
It
they're
literally
kinda-
says the opposite of the zoo theory. So it's not that we're a zoo, it's that we want to stay, our world leaders want us to stay here as if like this is like a prison.
Yeah.
No? Okay. This one's called the rare theory.
Oh, that just we're
Yeah, that one's pretty simple.
Yeah,
I feel like
that there's
we are extremely special and unique, and we are simply the only intelligent life out there in the universe.
based.
That one, as far technically, that one as
That
far
one's
as we
so
go,
far the truest one.
yeah. This one's called Great Silence Theory.
Great silence.
Yeah, Great Silence Theory.
I feel like that just reminds me of the one that you just talked about. How it's just us. It's just quiet.
Great silence theory.
Yeah, what do you think it is?
They're being quiet on purpose.
I mean, yeah, it says aliens have a really big and obnoxious ego that makes them believe they are too intelligent and we are not worth their time. It basically just means that they know we're here and they just don't care.
Yeah. Also pretty basic.
Maybe based might be.
I don't know why they had to add the like they have a big obnoxious ego.
Bro's projecting.
Yeah.
He's mad. He's
He's
mad. The
mad.
aliens don't want to fuck with us.
I'm guessing he believes that one.
Yeah, it didn't have it, but
The
you're
dark
right. The
forest.
silent forest theory, Julie. Which one do you think? What do you think that
That
The
one's
is?
just
silent forest theory.
Yeah, that one's kind of scary.
Is it? What was the last one? The great silence.
The great silence.
That they don't want to fuck with us, or like they just don't care about us, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what do you think is
The
the
silence
forest theory? What do you think that is?
That's what it's called.
I think that is. Yeah.
Do
Do you give up?
Yeah.
It's that like so it's the analogy is that like if you go to a jungle there's a lot of noise but it gets quiet when a predator walks by. So that the theory is that there are a bunch of civilizations but they're not like announcing their presence because something that is a danger to them might show up, you know? And people think it's scary is because we've been broadcasting radio signals like crazy and sending out a bunch of like probes and all kinds of stuff, basically saying like we're right here, you know. So if that one is true, then something might show up. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
It might already be too late, and
It
it
might
might not be
eat
the
us.
friendliest.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I've heard of
So
that. I was
what-
gonna mention that one when you talked about the other one. I was like, is it like that one?
Oh, that's that one. The other
The
one.
wo-
The one that's like that one.
I don't know what it's called.
Which do you guys think? Which one do you guys believe more? The zoo theory, great filter theory, self-imposed quarantine, rare earth, great silence, or the silent forest?
I think
theory?
rare earth.
Rare earth based. That one's based.
I think so.
Chile.
Yeah,
You think that we're just the only intelligent life in the universe?
probably.
Probably.
Whoa.
I mean, there might be another one, but they're probably like far, far away.
Yeah.
I guess I can agree to that. But that also feeds into our egos as humans.
I think life is common, but I don't think intelligent life is super common.
Have you heard that theory of octopuses are not from this earth?
Octopi, bro.
Octopi are not from this earth. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
I don't know English.
I don't think that's true. I think they're from here.
But some people say that they're like so different than any other animals on the planet.
There's a lot of animals that are different, like water bears. Those are weird.
True. Julie, what do you think? Do you think octopuses are from Earth or not?
Yeah,
I
I think
think-
the sea just developed them.
Actually, the sea is the oldest like
There's
ecosystem.
also like other animals that are like them, like squid. You know, it's not like there's nothing at all anywhere close to them. You know, and I think I've read that like a lot of scientists think that's really dumb. Yeah. So,
Okay, I can. I'll leave it at that then. Here's my final segment for this episode.
I'm scared.
So it's called 2 questions that will always keep you up at night.
is this from TikTok?
Yeah, these are all from TikTok.
Okay.
So we know what's on Stevie's algorithm.
It says you will only find these answers in death.
Okay.
Okay. What is reality independent of perception?
Oh, it's one of those. If
It's like
a
a
tree
thought
falls,
experiment.
If a
Yeah,
tree
it's
falls
like a
and
thought
no one's
experiment,
around
yeah.
to hear it, does it make a sound?
Yeah.
It does, though. No.
It
does.
does. So you think
So
so?
then there you go. There's
Yeah.
there's your answer.
So you think reality is independent of perception?
Probably.
But then, do you remember that experiment? The fucking
The one with the particles where they
yeah,
change.
that's the double slit experiment.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
the
gotta
one where
explain
you
it.
have to have to look at it and they
If you
they
look-
stop moving.
The act of observing something changes its.
Yeah, I gotta
its-
explain it for the listeners. Yeah, okay, so I feel like it's pretty famous, but if you haven't heard, there's this experiment called the double slit experiment. They shot a bunch of particles, a bunch of scientists shot a bunch of particles into this like kind of wall where it had 2 slits. When they lit it up to show the particles, it showed the particles went like into like what is it like?
Two slit. It was like they expected to see 2 lines or something like that.
Oh yeah, but they expected to see 2 lines, but instead it was like 5 rows of like slits in the back, right? And the scientists were very confused. They were like, "How did this happen? There's only 2 slits." So what they did is that they then basically recorded like the particles going through the 2 slits,
Yeah.
and when they looked at it after, they realized that it had completely changed. That now they just stayed on the 2 slits, and so when they didn't observe it, it would go back to doing the 5 slits.
Yeah.
It's a very complex experiment. I really encourage you guys to look into it. But what's really weird is that it brings into the question that our perception of our reality affects it.
Yeah.
That when we're looking at something, it can't like act naturally as it would as if there was no perception of it. You know, it's a really complex like idea. But am I explaining it well? Anything you can add?
Basically, they just found that the observation affects it, like that the
Right.
act of observation affects reality. So,
You don't think so? Do you don't think that that's like interesting when it comes to like what is reality independent of perception, right?
interesting. But I mean, I think it's a lot like the tree thing. Does it make a sound? I think so.
Julie?
What's the question? What is reality
Independent of perception.
I don't get the question. Like I don't get it. I really don't
It's
get it.
it's literally just like the tree thing. Like, does reality exist if people aren't around to observe
Yeah.
it?
So yeah, if you aren't around, is it actually happening? If all humans didn't exist, did the universe ever exist?
I mean, it still existed, no? But we just weren't in it. No? Is that what you're asking?
It's because like it's a philosophy. It's a philosophy.
It's like a philosophical paradox type thing. Where like, yes, obviously the universe existed before people, but people say like, but people are around to observe the fact that it existed before people. Mm-hmm. So if there wasn't anything around to observe the universe, period, would the universe technically exist?
Yeah,
that's what people are saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that? Do you think that like
I'll try and make it smaller. Imagine there's we're in space, right? Nothing, no stars, nothing. Just a vastness of nothingness. Then I have a car, right? I have a red car right here, and then I have put an eyeball that can think, has like a brain like us, and just a giant eyeball looking at the red car, and that's it. In this entire universe, there's nothing but that red car and that eyeball that's conscious. If that eyeball wasn't there, does that reality still exist? Because there's nothing there to perceive it. Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. So is reality independent of our perception? Yeah. All right, well, okay, I'll go to the next one then. Oh, you know what? I fucked up. That was the only question.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't another one?
Yeah, no, I thought there was, but it's just the same question in different font.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's this one's the tree.
Yeah. I'll just end you with the caption of what it says. It says, "Death should excite a philosopher."
Oh, really?
That's what it says.
Why do you think that?
I think because as a philosopher, you probably think of a lot of paradoxical situations. You probably are just like overthinking a lot of things, even when it comes to romanticism, you know. You wonder a lot about your place in the universe, and it's like your own mind can become a hell. So to die is to not only have peace, but to also find the answers of what comes next. And if it's nothing, then there's your answer. You know, that's how I think death.
But do you actually get the answer?
Who knows?
Because if you're dead, then you didn't really get the answer.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know. Sometimes with this kind of stuff, it feels like, but like, you know, you know what I mean? It's just like,
no, I get what you mean. Yeah, especially when it takes like a religion like kind of like turn. You start talking about like, well, I mean, the Buddhists say, or like, or Jesus says that if I love him, he'll accept me in the kingdom, right? Yeah. And it's like full respect to anybody who believes that, but it's like those are such like there's no proof, right? Mm-hmm. There's no evidence of any of that stuff being real. None of those, no matter what. There's proof of science, though. Yeah, science is real. Yeah, right. Yeah. Is that in 2023? Is that a hot take? That science is objectively real?
They want you to think that. They want you to blindly accept everything they present to you as real. That's what they say. Have you guys seen those things on Twitter where everybody's like pretending to have like the shakes because of the
vaccine? Yeah.
Weird, right?
I've seen when people are like, when they're like, "Thank you, Pfizer," and it's them like shaking.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Why do you think? Because it started because conservatives were faking that they were like having seizures, right?
I like the one where
really?
the chick's shaking, but her phone's perfectly still.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Thank you for stabilizing the footage.
I saw the one where it's like, "Is Pfizer the name of your vibrator?" Have you heard that one? Because she's like shaking and shit. No, yeah, it started. It didn't start as a joke, right? It started because people were actually saying that it was happening to them.
Well, what was the point of that? Like if they are lying, what's the point of just lying?
Well,
because doesn't that like if you have to lie about it, doesn't that like
you don't want me to get deep, bro? Because I know the answer. I know what it is. Go ahead, Julie.
I know. I was like, I had seen this tweet where it was like, when vaccinated people die from anything, anti-vaxxers think the vaccine was the cause. But when unvaccinated people die from COVID, what do the anti-vaxxers blame them?
And that
was interesting.
COVID? That serves my point. No, but that serves my point, bro.
What's your point?
It's because I'm telling you, it's because politics in America have become like a reality TV show where people like tune into this like political theater and take sides, and because it's like politics that affects our lives, people like treat it as if it's almost its own religion, and so people get like take their side, whether they're liberal or conservative. They take it as though it's a part of them, as though it's like almost like a a race or like a group that they belong in strongly. So for them to lie, like when conservatives lie and say the vaccine's causing that, it's because they want to defend who they are. They're defending their side.
And this is why people should just watch sports, bro. If you
Ah, yes.
if you want a team so badly, pick a team, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but it's because I'm telling you, it's because people see that politics affects their lives, so they take it more seriously than it was if it is sports.
Yeah.
You know, but if it was just sports, people would be like, I mean,
so you're a centrist? You think they're all bad?
No, I don't. I don't want to name myself to anything because I think I have conservative and liberal ideas. And I don't want to label myself as a centrist because I think they both are sometimes right and they're both sometimes wrong. And I think labeling yourself kind of restricts you, and also it's like just a way to divide yourself even more, and we don't get by when we label ourselves.
So what you're saying is you're too scared to take a stance.
No, I'm not too scared. I think if anything, it's scary to take no stance, to like not be part of a party, because there's people like you who judge and like and want so badly people to conform to something.
I don't know if I agree. I feel like I don't know if I agree completely with people who are like, nah, they're both all bad, because I feel like that's something they want you to believe. I feel like right now, at least, there's a side that definitely seems to me to be the worst side, you know? And if you want to say that the system is wrong for like presenting it as only two sides, that's a thing. Like you can say that, but like to be like, nah, neither. Well, that doesn't really get anybody anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying, but well, I guess what's weird about me and the reason why I don't personally like labeling myself in either party is because I remember watching like a documentary, and it's like about this neighborhood that's has like a very rich street and then a very poor street. And the very rich street has both liberals and conservatives, and they're like fighting constantly with each other about like Joe Biden and Trump. And then on the poor street, people don't even think about it. They're aware, like, oh yeah, I heard like Joe Biden's in town or something. That's why they're doing a documentary, right? But they're really just trying to get by. And I think like to sit back and like really think of like being part of a party, I think it's a privilege of like that the working class America doesn't really have. I think most Americans don't really like go to either side, and when they do, it's because they come from like a side of privilege. And I understand it's because I come from a side of privilege. I know that. I'm not gonna lie and say like, oh, like I'm not any side because I'm always on the grind. Like no, like I know I have the time to go to like rallies and do all this and vote, and I do vote. But I think most people who are very strongly one party or the next are very much like, because they're in a place of privilege where they can like actually focus on those things, where the common like American man is like a mix of so many different races, but above all else is just a working person, you know. And I think like all these concepts of like people get mad about like Latinx, or like people get mad about like oh, the conservatives are doing this, or like or liberals are trying to make everything inclusive. Like I think those problems are problems that a lot of people have in the back burner because their priority is just getting food. You know, it's just fucking like making money to fucking get rent. Like they obviously probably have their own opinions about the stuff that's going on, but their biggest like focus is just like, well, I hope my kids like are gonna go to good school. I hope they can get us out of poverty. You know, and I guess that's why I don't really like when people are one side or the other, because I'm like, come on, bro, like really, like it's like a political theater. Like it's all just like a show. Like, but I mean, I know it's a hot take. I mean, I know a lot of people don't agree with me, and you guys don't have to agree with me either. But that's the way I feel.
But you don't think people get too lost in the idea of like, of like the names and the representatives? Like, you don't think that people kind of get too like, I don't know. I guess the way I see it more is that it's not necessarily that the people who are on one side are like team this. It's just more like it happens to be that the policies they back happen to be under this branch. You know what I'm saying? At least people who, in my opinion, are more politically aware are more like that, where it's like, well, I mean, I guess if you have to label me, right? It's just that, like with Bernie Sanders, he's not a Democrat. He just runs under Democrat because if you ran under anything else, it wouldn't work. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like that's.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. But I mean, I guess because like I see it as though it's like a trap, right? When people who are like, oh yeah, you're right. There's just certain things about like, let's say, liberals,
But
not liberals.
I get
the
what you're
Democratic.
I get what you're saying, but like, how do we fix anything then? Because I understand that there's a lot of people have a lot of ideas how to fix anything, but like it or not, the only way to fix anything is to go through the government. Like
it's to play the game, right?
It's to play the game, you know. So I understand that, like I 100% I get, and I agree to a degree with what you're saying, but it's kind of like, well, then what do we do? You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, I think that the people in power who don't want things to change want people to kind of think that way of like, well, I just gotta, you know what I mean? Like, I understand that, like, for some people it's really, like you said, it's a privilege to be politically aware for some people. Some people don't have the time, you know? But again, like, what do we do? You know what I mean? Because it's like,
I have like,
well, because like what you're saying, right? The working class can be politically aware, but that's the people who are getting walked all over by the government. So like, we can't just be like, well, you know, that's more my kind of opinion on it is like, if everybody's kind of like, you know, then nothing changes, period. If everybody's kind of just shrugging their shoulders, well, my son will get me out of this, or like, and I get it, but
so do you think the solution is to make people politically aware?
I just think
it's to like make, because you know how people have for a long time people have tried to push for making, I think, election day like a
national holiday.
So yeah, where people don't have to work.
I think that people should be a national holiday.
I think so too.
You know,
I think it should probably be talked about more in schools.
Yeah,
like
school for sure. Because
I'm actually like a lot of people don't like the school system, and for valid reasons. The school system sucks. There's no way to kind of get around that. But I think that like one of the things that school like fucking like should teach is like politics, and I know it's because it's an ugly thing of like that's how like it's because you don't. And for sure, the parents are gonna get involved and be like, "Oh, like who's the teacher? The teacher's biased or whatever." But once you start involving kids from like just like the beginning, like you're right, then they grow up even though they're working. If then the government gives them a day off, they're like, "Well, I don't like the way things are going, so I'm about this way, right? Yeah. I'm about this certain way." I fucking hate like this game, bro. I just hate the game of politics. Like it's so unfair, and it's so like.
Because it's been something that's been happening for a while that people kind of just let it happen. Well, and it's legit happening.
I don't know. I don't want to keep talking about it because I
think we this is a good place to probably end the podcast. Yeah. We said a lot of good things. I wanted to end it. Julie, go ahead and show off your shirt.
Oh, it says "fuck your borders." It says "fuck your borders."
Yeah.
I got it back in college. It was for I think it's the Dream organization. I don't know their exact name, sorry, but it's at San Francisco State. It's an organization, and I think they were selling shirts to like fund for their like so it's for like DACA and all that. So I bought the shirt. I also like because it has a butterfly. It says "fuck your borders." Period.
So that's all I can end it on.
Yeah.
You know what? Choose what you got to choose. But do your research and have empathy for whoever you're voting against, right?
No, yeah. Don't do your research. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because I said something or he said something doesn't mean like you know.
You don't. This is what I believe. This is what Brandon believes. And this is what my sister believes. Doesn't mean you need to agree, but just always be nice to other people. Is all I can say.
Keep an open mind.
Because at the end of the day,
everything's
cool.
And that's our show.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.